Welcome to What the Fuck Whenever. It seriously is That's seriously what's going on with this show these days. I have to make an announcement because I'm gonna do like 3 shows, and then I have to get. I don't know if you guys remember back in like 2016 maybe. I had to get like an emergency eye surgery because my little one of my young cousins threw his Hot Wheel car, and he was mad and he just threw it, and it just happened to be in my direction, and it caught me in the eye. So I had to get like emergency surgery on this eye. And one of the things they said is that, as aside from that type of surgery, you tend to develop cataracts, and that's what happened in this eye. And so that's been like really impeding my ability to read the questions, on the air. Reading glasses don't help. So I have to get a procedure done. That's going to happen on the 15th. So then I'll be down for like 2 weeks, I think. I don't know. It might be shorter. I just don't even know. And then I'll be back. So that's what's been going on, why I've been so intermittent with all the preparations and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of a bomb to get dropped, but I think in the end, it'll be a good thing. But yeah, I almost made it to 10 years, but it's time to do something about that. I can't see right, so it's got to go. But that's what's going to be going on. So you guys just bear with me for a couple of weeks. From May 15th to probably the end of May, I won't be around. But I mean, I might be able to do something where I can just talk. I won't be able to read anything though. I can do that, but I can't do any like the advice columns. I can't do those. So we'll just have to put those on hiatus until my eyeball heals up, and then we can get back to doing our thing. So anyway, welcome. I will now that that's out of the way. Welcome to What the Fuck Whenever, which happens to be on Sunday today, and we're going to proceed with our 25 relationship advice questions. It's always 25. I never get away with less anymore. Sigh. So let's get started since we have so much to do and we haven't been here for a minute. Let me get over here to where the comments are. So I can see what y'all been talking about. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'll be fine. Like I said, if I can figure out something to do where I just talk, like you guys would have to call in or something. Or I just talk about whatever. People would have to call in though, because I wouldn't be able to read, you know. So we'll figure that out. We'll work on that. I'll see what we can do. Leandra, oh my God, talking about a flash from the past. Where you been? I, I was thinking. I wonder if she in jail. If she ain't been around. Oh, this is too funny. All right, let's wait. There's too many papers in my hand. Let me put some of these bad boys down. All right. Let's start with question number 1. This is a young lady in the 18 to 21 age group. She's Latina from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Summary of issue. My best friend is asking my boyfriend for money. What should I do? Aside from kicking her ass? You don't know? Yeah, see. Yeah, I knew it. But you're doing some crook shit. That's what we call it, crook shit. So I'm 18 and my best friend is 19, and I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend. He is 28. Wow, you 18 in a relationship with a 28-year-old, almost 30-year-old man. Okay. For about 6 months. I love him more than anything else. He is incredibly nice and kind. My best friend has struggled. She has been hungry and unable to afford food. My boyfriend, being the kind person he is, has given her some money for food in the past, and now I feel she's starting to abuse his kindness. Basically, a few days ago, she reached out to him directly, which she has never done before. They've only ever communicated in person or through me. And in her message, she asked him to give her some money for her art business. He told her no, and immediately told me that he immediately told me to not to confront her on it, but it makes me really mad that she didn't talk to me and is trying to get money from my boyfriend. Should I confront her anyway? Well, the fact that he handled it means no. For you to go and confront her now when he specifically asked you not to would be a marked sign of disrespect. He's a grown man. He's 10 years older than you. He knows what he's doing. He don't need you to go around and be his mother, henpecking people and stuff for him. Stay in your envelope. The man she called him, he told her ass no. He told you what happened, so you would be up, up on what's going on, and then that's it. It's over. It's a wrap. Okay. Now you could let her know that in some kind of little way. So and so told me that he had to turn you down when you asked him for some money, something like that, something light, just to let her know that you guys talked and she didn't get away with anything. But as far as confronting her, like, don't be asking you're not going to do that. He handled it. Okay. He handled it like a grown man, and he swiftly handled it. So there's nothing for you to do here except shut up. That's what you young girls need to learn, when to keep your mouth closed, because you talk too much and you get involved in stuff that has nothing to do with you. When you start going behind a man, if he specifically asked you not to involve yourself in his affairs, and you do it anyway, basically what you're telling him is you don't trust him. You think you know more than him, that you know better than him, and that his thought processes are not to be respected, admired, or even cared about. That's what you would be doing. The message you would be giving him by running behind him when he specifically told you not to do it. I'm going through this long explanation because I think this is important to communicate. So many women think like, well, I'm trying to help him. He don't want your help. Never help a man, okay? Even when they ask you for help, you shouldn't be trying to be running there with your cape on. He should go to other men for his help. He should go to other businesses for his help. He should not be asking you, unless it's something like, babe, can you iron my shirt, or can you find my other sock, my other dress sock? I can't find it. I got this big meeting and I'm gonna jump in the shower, something like that. You can help him with something like that. But other than, maybe help him pack his clothes for a business trip he got at the last minute, something like that shows partnership. But you're not going to step in and assume any responsibilities, obligations, or commitments for a man. You're never going to do that. You're not going to do that. If he needs that kind of assistance, he's going to go to his brother, his uncle, his daddy, his grandpa, his best friends, his friend group, a banker, a lawyer, an accountant, a doctor. He's going to go to some professionals. He don't need you to run around and try to be his mother. Okay, so sit your ass down and don't say nothing. It's just really interesting because I was talking about this to some of my, younger cousins, and I was telling them that, the 90s is when the era of social media began with AOL. And it wasn't called that then, but that's when, the beginning of it in the early 90s. And so they weren't born yet. You know what I mean? So to them, this kind of stuff, like when you pick up a phone and you actually call somebody, or you get in your car and you go drive over and you visit them, or you meet them out someplace to talk and exchange, and have dates and talk time together and stuff like this, it's like a foreign concept to them. They don't, and everything that's on the internet to them is reality. And we're looking at them like, you are confused big time. So it was the most interesting conversation, though, to look at the difference in perspective of these young adults versus us old heads on like socialization, conversation, the information that you should share on some unknown platform like the internet, stuff like that. Our views of it were so different. But I schooled them real quick and said, so many women's lives have been destroyed by being too free with information on the internet. Okay, you young, you cute and everything. Now you putting all these, booby pictures up and giving these men all this stuff with your face showing, or your name on it, or your IP address attached to it. And then you gotta go and you get through college, and now you want to be run for, like, I don't know, attorney general, or prosecutor of their city or something like that. And then this stuff comes up, and then you get shot the fuck down. You know why? For two reasons. One, because you were stupid, and they don't want somebody in a responsible position now that was stupid 5 or 10 years ago. And the second thing is because it's just trifling and embarrassing. You ought to have enough sense to not do stuff like that, especially with all the warnings all over the internet. Your parents telling you not to do it, and you do it anyway. You're setting yourself up for drama in the future. And your husband's gonna find out, your kids, you got all these like T and A pictures and your fan sites and all this kind of stuff. And don't you think when you become a grandmother, your family's gonna find out about that stuff and look at you like you just a hoe? I don't even know what to say about you. What did you do? Why did you do that? Why did you just go back to school and get a job? Stuff like that. And you're gonna have a hard time explaining why you chose that path, and you humiliate everybody that you care about. So right now you only be thinking about yourself, or trying to get the attention of some raggedy man. But it's not worth it. So this whole spiel hopefully this launches the show and sets the pace. You better listen, okay? When you got these older women trying to tell your little dumbasses how to conduct yourself, you better listen because you're gonna mess your life up. And then once it's messed up, it's gone. Anything you post on the internet or email is there forever because people, even if it's on them Snapchat, they stays there. People take screenshots. You thinking it's disappearing? They got screenshots of it and they send it to all their friends and post it who knows where. And your dumb ass is sitting up there thinking nobody has it because it disappeared. Nothing on the internet ever disappears. Nothing. Okay. You know that Wayback Machine? It has images of my website from 1997. It looked raggedy as hell, but you know, the software and stuff available to do web development at that time, that was like pretty high tech stuff. But I look at it now, it's like yeesh. Question number 2. This is a male in the 28 to 34 age group. He's African American from Pensacola, Florida. The young lady in question is 22 to 27. Summary of issue. My girlfriend laughs when I tell her about my depression. Did I overreact? Let's see. It might be a laughable situation. To explain the context, I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for several years. This is 2 sheets. Hold on a second. I've been fighting severe depression with all the things that it brings, black ideas, dependency, etc., long before I met her. When I have very low periods, instead of doing serious, quote, things, I get into the habit of locking myself in my room with music and writing down whatever comes into my head. About a week ago, I was feeling very low morally. I was about to do something serious and irreversible, but at the last minute, I locked myself in my room and I decided to write for the first time with details of my malaise and asked my friends for help for the very first time, which they've been asking me to do for years, but I always turned them down. After 2 to 3 hours, I finished this text. I sent it to a group with my childhood friends and sent it to my girlfriend. My girlfriend has often asked me to tell her about my depression, like what I'm feeling and why, but I've always refused because I don't want to put the weight on her shoulders and I see it as a personal battle. But about 30 minutes later, my friends called me on the WhatsApp group and reassured me that they were there for me, that they were always available if I needed them, etc., etc. Until then, everything was fine. So far, so good. My girlfriend called me a few hours later and on FaceTime, and her reaction put me at ease. Her first words were, "Oh my God, dude, for real, wow, what a text. Me, what do you mean?" Her, "Your text was so intense. You write so well." Me, thanks, but you. Her, "No, really, you should write books," with a big smile, because they on FaceTime, right? Me, but could you stop what I said because it depresses me so much, etc. Yes, of course, she says. I plan to stop it anyway, but I've got to go. Kiss. A few hours later, I finished work, so I called her on FaceTime as usual. But when she answered, I saw her busy doing the thing I asked her to stop. I said, "But you told me you were going to stop." And her reply was, "Oh, but I'm trying. I was just thinking about it," with a big smile. At that point, I got angry and cut the call. Then she got angry and said that I had overreacted and that I was really dramatic to react like that. Did I overreact? And what can I do for the future? You never said what the thing was that she did that you asked her to say, so we in the dark. Because, we would have to know that to know why she was laughing and what you were overreacting to, but you conveniently left that out and went through this play-by-play of stupid stuff. The one key element in this letter, you want to know if you overreacted, you didn't include it. So guess what? I can't really answer your question. All I'm going to say is this. If you have been dealing with depression for years and you have not, and before you even met her, and just now starting to get to the point where you reach out to other people, why did you not get into some kind of therapy for that? Why did you not go see a doctor and get some pills for that? What did you do other than locking yourself in your room to handle the situation and make it better? Instead of locking yourself in your room, a better thing is to get up, put on some running shoes, and go out and fill your body up with some endorphins. That would be a better path than laying around writing, dreadful thoughts in a journal. Physical activity helps with depression a lot. You should also investigate what you're eating. Sometimes depression is triggered by diet. It's a negative allergic reaction to something. You have a sensitivity There's certain additives in foods, sometimes food colorings, sometimes the foods themselves. So an allergy testing would be in order as well. It might be something dietary that you could eliminate and all these problems would go away. But see, you haven't really done anything, but you want your girlfriend to be like all pitiful and stuff. And if I were her, I would laugh at you too. Because the fact that you're not really doing anything. If I saw like a path of, you've tried this, you're trying that, you actively doing something to alleviate this concern and this problem in your life, then I would be on your team. But you're not doing that, and you just want, now you've involved all your friends in it and stuff, which I mean, I guess they want to be there to support you. I wouldn't be one of them because I don't do depression and all that kind of stuff. I don't do it. I don't even like myself when I get in those kind of moods. I mean, it happens, you can't avoid it. But it's the kind of thing where it's not gonna be a repeat pattern, because if I feel that way, I'm gonna get off my ass and do something about it. What's making me feel this way, I'm gonna analyze it. And then I'm gonna say, okay, what's my solution? A, B, C, D, E. I'm gonna pick one, maybe two, and then I'll get busy making it happen so that I don't have that problem. But if you just like to have the problem, then that means if you don't do nothing about it, then that means you just like having the problem. It's an attention thing for you. And I would laugh at you as well. Okay. So now let me just be blunt. All right, question number 3. This is a female in the 20 to 34 age group. She's Caucasian from San Angelo, Texas. Ooh, I never heard of that. Male, 22 to 27. He's African American. Okay, summary of issue. So this is an interracial relationship, in case y'all didn't check it. Summary of issue. I'm feeling so sad with my husband's birthday gift to me. How do I proceed? It's my first birthday as husband and wife. We just got married 2 months ago. I am 29 and he is 26. Okay, well, there's your first problem. An almost 30-year-old woman with a man who's in his mid-20s. That's a gross error in judgment. His mind is not right yet. Men 25, 26, 27 are, let me just be blunt, stupid. Like emotionally, kind of constipated. They're not men yet. They're in men bodies for sure. They can perform men physical acts very well. But I'm talking about their emotional and mental development. Even insurance companies know that. I mean, this is like a scientific fact. It's not me just running off at the mouth. You can look it up online. They talk about men's brains are still developing. So, into 25, 26. So if somebody's still like growing, that means they're still changing. That means they're not mature yet. So why you chose to marry somebody 26 years old and you almost 30 is kind of interesting. Okay, I think that was your first mistake. But let's see what other mess up you did. A few weeks ago, I communicated my needs on how I want him to be more romantic. Okay, wait a minute. You done married the man and he ain't romantic, but now because you married, you want him to be romantic? This is that magical thinking where you think because you say I do that everything changes. If he wasn't romantic before, then what'd you marry him for if you want a romantic man? You see what I'm saying, y'all? This decision making is just weird. Told you before a couple of weeks ago, when women they hear that word fiance, they lose their damn minds. All their logic and reason goes out the window. All right, so here we go. So he ain't been romantic yet, but now suddenly she wants him to be romantic. For example, to take me out on dates. What? How you marry somebody and you ain't been on dates? Buy me flowers, etc., because he isn't the most expressive person. He told me he's simply not a romantic guy, will be gladly take me on dates if I plan them. Okay. That's your compromise. Fine, whatever. His love language is physical touch, not gift giving, not words of affirmation, not acts of service, just quality time at home where I do everything and physical touch. Okay, but surely you knew that before you put on that big wedding party and walked down that aisle and did all of that, right? So you accepted all of this about him before, but now that you're married, you want him to, like, dink, change. Okay. Today was my birthday, and he came home from work with just some flowers, like grocery store bouquet of flowers. Dang, dude, that's harsh. For extra context, we didn't plan to go out because my family is supposed to come over, and we're somewhat religious, so we don't celebrate birthdays heavily. But last year for his birthday, I got him a cake and candles and a small gift from Europe when I was overseas. I expected him to at least get me a dessert. I'm on the verge of tears and about to even cancel on my family. Am I being a spoiled brat? How am I supposed to react to this without coming off as ungrateful or nagging. Okay, I'm going to say this. Has he ever bought cakes and flowers and all this kind of stuff that you expecting? Or is this a new development? You left that part out. You did say that he said he's just not a romantic he's not a romantic guy. So if his assessment is that he's not a romantic guy, that means he's been that way the whole time. And you accepted it before, but now all of a sudden it's a problem. Okay, let me say this one more time. It's like, oh, why do I have to keep repeating myself? Okay, when you meet a man, the best you're gonna get out of him is gonna happen within the first month. If that part's all fucked up, then just let it go. Okay. But what you see though, what you see right there, what he presents, the way he thinks, whether he's romantic or not, whether he's attentive or not, whether he's affectionate or not, whether he's really, wants to spend money on you or not, whether he introduces you and brags you around and brags on you to all his friends and family or not. Those kind of things, he's gonna either display them from the day he meets you or not at all. So for you to want, date him enough to build a relationship to the point where you married him and then start complaining about what he doesn't do, you're going to put yourself in divorce court. That's what's going to happen. You accepted him, so you're going to keep accepting him. If you want some flowers, go out and buy them for yourself or send them to yourself. But put his name on them. And he'll be like, oh shit, wait a minute. And make sure his credit card pays for it. Okay, put his name on it and send yourself a giant bouquet of roses to your job and with your husband's name on it. That's what you really want, is like the attention and the recognition. That's what you want. So just do it that way. Okay. Millions of women do that. And so, nobody knows that they sent them to themselves using their husband's name. The husband doesn't care. He's just happy that she's happy. See how that works? When you're married, that's how that works. It's a partnership, and y'all got to cover each other's weaknesses. Now, he said he'll take you on anywhere you want to go as long as you plan it. That sounds like a good deal to me. That would be ideal, because that way you're never disappointed with the date, with the agenda, what you eat, nothing. You're never disappointed because you planned it and it's exactly what you want. That means, what does that mean? That means he knows he's not going to do it because he just don't care. But the person who cares is responsible for making it happen, and that would be you. So you're going to have to do that, and then you tell him, honey, we're going on a date. I laid your clothes on the bed. Put those on, take a shower and put them clothes on, and be ready at 7, because our reservation is at 7:30. And don't be late. We having a date tonight. Okay? And what happens a lot of times with men, because my husband, he was kind of like that, but not quite that bad. But what happens is, when you demonstrate, like how happy you are when you go on these dates and the kind of stuff that you like to do and stuff like that, it helps them. But this should happen when you was dating, not wait till you get married. It builds a certain kind of confidence in them. They can see, oh, this is all I would have to do to make her be happy like this. I can do this. And then they start doing it. But it's like it's like a training ground, especially in this atmosphere where men, nobody's teaching them anything about romance. They don't even have to communicate. They want to send a text and date you by text. They don't even want to use their phone. People don't want to call. They just want to do a hangout and look up and stuff. So ladies, if it's something that you want, you're going to have to tell him, and then you're going to have to show him. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. That's what I said, Indigo Girl. It's like this has been a pattern for the last 2 years or so. Once these girls they say my fiance, it's a wrap on anything that the dude does that's stupid, any kind of abuse, any kind of ignorance and craziness. They're going to tolerate it because it's my quote fiance. This, I swear. You can look at the March Madness shows and 4-hour things. I said that multiple times during those broadcasts. Yeah, she's 29 and he's 26. So, that's it. And the male is the younger one. It would be different if she were the younger one. But yeah. And not even the courting period, the early courting period, because after that they start, they feel like they got you, so stuff starts dropping off. But I'm telling you, ladies, if you want something, like I want to go to Hawaii, right? I want to go on a romantic trip. Oh, I don't want to go to Hawaii, says Hubs. I said, why not? I had already bought the tickets and stuff. Oh, I don't want to go. I said, well, then I'm going to take my mother because I'm going. You going to take your mother? I'm like, somebody got to use this ticket and stuff. You know, the little cabin I rented and stuff on the beach. I mean, it was like all romantic. So then finally he decides to go. Guess who want to go to Hawaii every year after that? You see what I mean? It's like they just, I don't know. Men are just weird. And so if unless you have like a real adventurous type of boyfriend that likes to do a lot of stuff and you know has that kind of curiosity about him, most men don't. If you notice, they're kind of like they like routine and sameness. They feel comfortable in that. Whereas women are the ones who like a lot of variety and difference in different food for the dinner and all this kind of stuff. Men would be like, okay, let's have this, like a couple of times a week or at least a few times a month. And women are like, ew, I don't want to eat this that often. And so it's just little things like that will set the tone for your relationship. Yeah, this like, I, whatever. Let's move on. This is question number 4 of 25. The young man is 22 to 27. He's mixed race in the UK. The young lady is 22 to 27, and she's white European. Summary of issue. Girlfriend volunteered my time to help her family on my day off. I have taken tomorrow off work to relax, which my girlfriend knows about. My plan was to just play video games, watch Netflix, read, and just chill out at home. My girlfriend went to see her mum yesterday, and her mum mentioned that she was planning to do gardening over the weekend. My girlfriend told her mum that I was off work tomorrow and would come around and do it for her since her mum is over 60 and struggles to do the gardening. My girlfriend mentioned this to me and I refused to do it. I told her she knew I was planning to relax, so I don't really want to spend all my day gardening in the sun. My girlfriend said her mum needs someone to help her, so I told her to go and help her over the weekend then instead of volunteering me. My girlfriend said it will only take a few hours, so I should be fine going, but I just repeated that I'm not going since I want to spend my day off relaxing. My girlfriend said I was being selfish and should be helping her mom, but I don't think I'm wrong for wanting to spend my time off relaxing. Deb, can you offer a different perspective or any ideas on how to best handle this? No, you handled it exactly well. I would have added a little bit of frosting on there though, say, you got this confused. That's not my mother-in-law and you ain't my wife. So no, I'm not doing nothing. That's your mother. You go over there and handle it. Like if we broke up tomorrow, guess what? I wouldn't have no relationship with that woman or you. So, let's keep things in perspective here. That's your mother. She needs somebody to help her garden. Get your ass in your car and go over there and help her garden. Or hire somebody. Either one, I'm not leaving this house. I'm gonna be on this couch all day. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to, even though people say that that's kind of harsh, you shouldn't talk to your mate like that. Didn't cuss her out. Didn't say anything that was inaccurate either. It's just a reality check for girlfriend who's just getting a little bit too rambunctious. You don't volunteer somebody else's time, energy, or effort. That, first of all, that was like totally rude and out of pocket and inappropriate. And then, and you didn't like go off on her and stuff. You just said no and you kept reiterating your boundaries. And I love it. I wish more people would do that kind of stuff instead of like, I had this problem I have with so many women. Somebody would ask them that, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess it's just a couple of hours. And then they would be resentful and angry and exhausted the next day when they had to go back to work and didn't really have time to unwind and rest the way that they wanted to. So I think you did a very good job of protecting your boundaries, and she'll get over it. And that just remind her though, in the future, don't you ever tell somebody I'm going to do anything for them unless you ask me first and I agree to it. I'm not your slave. Okay. And I know you probably gonna say that it's not about that. Well, once you said that you mixed race and she's white, you just never know. Okay. And you know me, I'm gonna say the stuff that's in the back of people's mind and nobody wants to say. So I'm, you mixed race, or you got some black in you somewhere, and somebody's up there trying to volunteer your time and treat you like you don't have the right to say no. That's slavery. So you need to remind her of that too. You know, I'm not feeling girlfriend at all. At all. I don't like this kind of stuff. It's so disrespectful. And I think you handled it very well. I would have cussed her ass out personally. Once I said no and she kept talking and telling me, well, my mother needs help. I don't give a fuck about your mama. Your mama birthed you, not me. I don't have shit to do with it. see, the conversation would have de-escalated to that kind of level, because that's I go there real quick with that kind of stuff. If I say no, then your only answer is okay. Once you say anything else to try to coerce or pressure or guilt trip me into doing what you want me to do, the kid gloves come off and you're about to get cussed. And that's just the way it is. That's a violation of somebody's boundaries for you to say anything once they said no. You keep talking, then you trying to pressure them into doing what you want them to do, and that's wrong. And so you get cussed out, and that's just the way it is. Question number 5. This is a male in the 20 to 34 age group. He's white from Portland. Summary of issue. How long can I date multiple women without being shady? Wait, you in the 28 to 34 age group and you don't know this? This is it. Okay. I've been seeing 2 women and have been on 4 dates with each of them. I like both of them quite a lot, but in different ways. But I would like to see one of these become a relationship. Even though I am 34 years old, I've never been in this situation before, and I want to handle it in a way that is above board, but that's not also not awkwardly oversharing. The first girl, okay, well, you don't say how old they are, but dude, anybody past 18 is not a girl. Okay, so correct your mentality here. But this is what he says. The first girl I've been seeing for quite a while, and I've been texting every day for you texting at 34 for a couple of months. We agreed to take things slowly because of her situation, and we actually haven't even kissed yet. The vibes are strong. She's just very unsure about getting back into dating, and I'm weaning her in slowly. She knows I'm on the apps and is fine with it. Okay, well then there's nothing to do, no work to be done there. The second one I've only known for a couple of weeks, but things have progressed much more quickly. I am seeing her tomorrow, and we've been very likely going to have nook nook. I met her on an app, so I assume that she's seeing other guys too, but I don't know at what point we're expected to start focusing on one person. I've only ever really liked one girl at a time, so this is new territory for me. Any thoughts? Yeah, that first girl that you trying to wean along, that you said that you haven't kissed her yet. She's unsure about getting back into dating and all this kind of stuff. That ain't gonna go nowhere. So essentially, you're seeing one person and just spending money on 2. That's what you're doing. One person's interested in you and the other one's not. Well, I mean, she might be kind of interested, but the fact that you know that she's not really trying to go where you trying to go into relationship land, that should tell you right there that you're not really seeing 2 women like you think you are. You're just seeing one. And so, just drop the first lady and just tell her you met somebody and that you wish her luck in her journey to find, peace and recovery and heal from her prior relationship damage and trauma or whatever. That's what you're going to do. That's all that's going on there, sir. You're not really seeing 2 people. It's just like they're as interested in you as you are in them. They call you, text you, you call them, text them. You guys, spend a lot of time together. You going over to each other's houses and stuff. The relationships are kind of similar in involvement and intensity. Then you're seeing 2 people. You ain't seeing 2 people. Well, he can do that because he's single. I always tell y'all, you should date more than one person at a time. In my book, he's not doing anything wrong. This man is not committed to anybody, neither those women. They all on the dating apps. So he can have his cake and eat it too. That's what it's about when you're single and dating around and using them app things. So let's not condemn him for doing anything wrong because he's not doing anything wrong. He's just asking how he should communicate to the women that he's seeing someone else. But I'm sharing with him from my perspective, he's really only seeing one person. He thinks it's 2, but the other lady's just, spending time with him and just wasting his time and wasting his money, and he should just let her go. That's all from my perspective, of course. I have been known to be wrong. Like I was wrong once in like 1999. Haven't been wrong since. Question number 6. This is a male in the 28 to 34 age group. He's Caucasian from Kentucky. Summary of issue. My girlfriend made a joke that has me feeling a bit uneasy. My girlfriend and I have been together for 8 months now. Everything has been good. We are both in our early 30s. She said things like, quote, I wish I could unzip you and climb inside you, end quote, when we were cuddling. Or that she wants to drink my blood, which she had said jokingly. And that hasn't really been cause for alarm. You weren't alarmed at that? Your girlfriend must have been an extra in Silence of the Lambs because she's just doing the most. I'm not feeling this at all. That wouldn't work for me. She recently made a joke, however, that made me feel very weird. After a hug, she said, I'm going to K you one day. And you still there? I don't even know what to say. It was the look she gave me and the way she said it that just made me feel very uneasy. She's also not someone who makes that many dark humor jokes. Could I just be paranoid or is this cause for concern? I'm not sure if I'm just paranoid or not. No, you stupid though. You know why? Because when she said that, exactly, it's going to say important mission. When she said that, you were supposed to say, "Look here, you know what? This recent line of conversation from your mouth is just too weird for me. I can't do it." And you would do this like on the phone or by text, not when you're at her house in her presence, and not when she's at yours. And tell her, I don't know what you're trying to do here or where this is, but this is not my idea of romantic conversation. It's frightening, it's scary, and it sounds like some kind of like murder or something. And so I'm a deuce out on this situation, and I wish you the best of luck. That would have been me. You know, some man telling me I would, okay, just flip it around, ladies, okay? You with some dude, and he says, I want to drink your blood. What you gonna do? And then he's hugging you, and he says, I'm going to K you one day. Would the blood not freeze in your veins and you feel like I've got to get out of here or I may lose my life behind this crazy nutcase that I happen to accidentally get involved with? Would you not think that? I mean, I know men don't have that sense of danger is because they feel like, well, I'm a man, I can handle it, I can take care of myself, this and that. A whole bunch of dead men had that thought and they were offed by crazy women. So dude, I don't even know what to say. I mean, you had enough sense to write in and get a second opinion like a doctor, but I'm telling you, this girl, something's wrong with her. And I bet you if you did some like background check stuff, you will find that she has some mental illness in her history. It's probably being controlled by meds. But I'm going to suggest strongly that you put everything in place to extricate yourself from this relationship immediately. Because none of this conversation here, hey Shay, the babe, none of this conversation is sane. Nobody says things like that. Yeah, Leandra say we gonna be on the ID channel. I know exactly. This poor dude. In Kentucky, since you bury them up in them hills, they be like, yeah, you ever seen Joe? What happened to Joe? Remember Joe? He was dating that crazy girl. Whatever happened to him? Maybe I've never seen him since he went on a date with her about 3-4 years ago. Then they be like, oh, Joe found in shallow grave or on cold case files. I've been watching those old shows. They'd be on cold case files looking for Joe. Joe's last contact Joe had was writing an advice column. I mean, I'm making jokes, but dude, for real, get away from this chick. Question number 7. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group. She's white from Spokane, Washington. Summary of issue. I told my husband I didn't want to be a mom or a wife anymore, and that I was. Ooh, these letters today are hilarious. I was having a depressive day, and I felt numb with a bit of sadness mixed in. We were talking about getting another dog, and I had made the comment that I don't want to get another dog because I don't want the dogs that we have, or the kids, or this life. His response was just more, and I said, basically, I just don't want to be alive. Oh, damn. I didn't mean it as not wanting to be a mother or a wife. I meant it as I didn't want the responsibility right now because I could barely pull myself out of bed. He was obviously hurt by my comment and responded with, quote, well, I wake up most mornings wishing I wasn't alive either, but I still want you and the kids. I didn't really know how to respond other than everyone goes through depression and experiences it differently. He told me he didn't want to fight about it, and we said our love yous and hung up the phone. He was at work. Deb, I know that my problem stems from lack of medication due to having to wait for a refill until I can see my OBGYN. My medication was prescribed from postpartum depression, which I am currently going through, My youngest child is almost a year old, and I am in between therapists currently trying to find one that fits my schedule and knows how to help navigate postpartum depression. I'm asking you for advice on how to apologize for hurting his feelings, but also letting him know that I'm not doing my best right now. I've tried to talk to him about my feelings prior to this, and he shuts down most times, or the conversation shifts to different things or his feelings, and I don't know how to get it back on track without feeling dismissive. He has told me that he has a lot of trouble dealing with multiple emotions at once, and I have a hard time singling out my emotions. I feel everything normally or nothing. Any advice would help this shit show that is going on in my head right now. Wow, this is kind of heavy for my usually ridiculously crazy advice column, but I can tell you, my mom was an RN, so we had a lot of conversations around our household about postpartum depression, which I mean, I was young and not even on that page, but I still remember her talking about it. My aunts talking about it, and my mom's nurse friends, talking about it. And then I had an experience. I was in the hospital because I had gotten like a infection or something. And so I was in the hospital for 2 days, and there was the room I had was near the cardiac unit or something because they were like full for some reason. So they put this lady, the first night I was there by myself, and the second night they put this lady, I had the window and she was by the door. And the woman, she would sit in the bed and she would do this, she would rock like this and make this wailing sound like, "Ah, ah." Now, I'm sitting there like, this bitch crazy. And so I ring the little buzzer to the nurse thing. I said, what's going on with her? She making too much noise. I can't rest. So they sedated her so she got some sleep. The next morning, her husband comes in with this baby. The baby was like a month old. And she didn't want nothing to do with the baby. She didn't want nothing to do with him. So she screamed and hollered and stuff. So security made him leave. And no, I guess the baby was about 2 months old, 3 months. Something anyway. It was still like. And then when she left, the nurse that came on duty had been one of my personal training clients, and I was like, hey, and what's going on with that lady? She said, girl, she had that baby. She has spent every weekend here, every weekend in the hospital to get away from that man and that baby. I'm like, what? She like has a crisis, a meltdown until they come and they put her in the hospital. So that was my first hand experience with somebody with first postpartum depression. So your thing about not wanting to be a mother and a wife, that seems to be part of it. The overwhelming responsibility of having a baby, and then you have a husband who wants to keep adding to your workload by bringing in animals. So the main thing you need to do is tell him, get all them dogs and don't you dare bring another thing in here for me to try to take care of. I'll kill it. That's what I will do. So you think, and I'll get away with it because I'm already suffering from postpartum depression. Get the dogs and get them out of here. It's too much for me to just take care of the baby. You want me to take care of all these animals and a kid and myself and you? I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it. So you have to put some boundaries in place. I mean, you're talking to him, but you're not talking to him really firmly and saying, this is not going to happen. And the second that you do that and try to burden me with that, you're going to be repercussions. It sounds like that lady in Texas. Remember the one who drowned her kids in the bathtub? Her husband kept making her have babies and move them all into like a trailer home or something. The woman was going crazy. Well, obviously did go crazy, and she snapped. That was postpartum depression. So this is a very serious situation. I don't know where your family is, but please reach out to them for some assistance. If you can pack their baby up and go stay with your mother, so you have people around you that can help you with the kid and help you ease into this responsibility and get back to yourself. Stay there a month or 2 or 3 or something. Then come back home. You'll be right. You'll get a chance to recalibrate. Make sure your birth control game is tight. So getting pregnant again is not even an option for you. Okay, not right now. Don't do it. And then leave them dogs to your husband to take care of so he can see how much work it is. Susan Smith, that was her name. Thank you. Yeah, that was the saddest thing I've ever read in my life. And I could just, people were just condemning her. But I'm like, did you see what the stuff this man did to her? He was so emotionally abusive to her. And then she just went crazy. And then people just like, yeah, but she did, So it's like, the man was excused from all responsibility in the way he treated her all those years, the way he treated his kids too, and they just blamed everything on her. I thought, this is just criminal. How are you blocked? We're seeing you right here, so you obviously not blocked. I don't know. I'm seeing that your comments right there. Comments have to be approved. If it's something that, the spam filter catches because the languages is bad, then it won't make it to for us to even approve it. And then sometimes, we just don't like your comment, and so we don't approve it. It's nothing personal. It's just certain issues, certain language, certain stuff, perspectives, or the certain way people word stuff. We just be like, no, this is not really what we're trying to do here. And so then we don't approve it. Nothing personal. That happens too. And YouTube deletes my comments, and I'm the one that owns the damn channel. And they delete mine too. So I don't know. YouTube be tripping. Anyway, move on to question number 8. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group. She's African American from Jacksonville, Florida. Serve issue: why do some men feel insecure about successful women? I went through a very bad breakup about a year ago. I really loved him, and everything was fine until things started to get rough for him money-wise. He started to get cold and distant. He didn't want to talk to me about it, and he just complained about everything. I'm a very optimistic person, and I was always there for him. I even offered to help, but he just shushed me away, which felt horrible. Right at the same time, I started to get a lot of good opportunities, money, successes in my career, etc. And then he just broke up with me. He said I was, quote, way too good for him. I was so devastated because I wanted to, quote, save him, and I felt guilty for being successful or whatever. Now that I see things clearly, I realize that he was just in his victim mentality, and he was dragging me in it with him because I truly felt guilty for not being able to help him, even though he didn't want me to, and he was just rude and cold all the time. So why does this happen? Because he didn't feel like a man. See, real men don't want women to save them. That's the part that I just talked about that maybe, I don't know, what, 30, 40 minutes ago in the beginning of the show. Real men don't look for women to save them. They go to other men to be saved, or they save themselves. That's, under the umbrella of masculinity. When a man starts holding his hand out for women to help him, he's a little bitch. A lot of you like those kind of little bitch men. And then you be mad because, well, he never stands up for me. I can't depend on him. He's not a contributor to the household. I have to do everything. Well, that's because you got yourself involved with a little bitch instead of a man. What do you want from me? That was your choice. You chose that. He presented himself, but you had the option to say, nah, I'm a pass, but you didn't. You brought it home and propped it up and started, dressing it up and feeding it and buying it clothes and paying its bills and shit. And then you want to know, well, where are the real men? They out there, but you can't treat them like a little bitch and think that they're gonna magically turn into a responsible, accountable male. That's not gonna happen. So if you want a man, then you got to go out there and make sure that's what you get. If he starts asking you to quote help him, then you get up and get your purse and you deuce out, boop, and you be on about your way. But yeah, and but I appreciate the fact that he did break up with you in a situation like that. He didn't want to sit there looking at you, going up and up, and he just like going either down or just staying the same, right? It's just like too demoralizing. It's bad enough he feels bad by himself. He don't need to look at you and feel worse. You looking at this all wrong. You looking at it like, he did something to you. If you understand when a man is, got that real, like, I'm a man and I'm gonna do for self kind of mentality, then you wouldn't even have wrote this letter. You would have just accepted it because you would have understood where he was coming from. It's nothing to do with you. Yeah, good job, Indigo. That's how you do it. I don't know. I know I saw one, I like to watch these Korean dramas. I saw one where this guy, something happened. I don't know. He was like spacing out. And so he had forgot to put the money in the coffee machine. So he was mashed the button and that was coming out, of course, but he was like, spaced out. So she puts the money in and gets him the coffee and gives it to him. And he reaches in his pocket and pulls out the money and gives it to her back. And she's like, "Oh, like you don't want to owe anybody anything." But I'm like, that's he didn't ask her to buy him anything, and he didn't want her to buy him anything, and he didn't want to be indebted to her as a girl for his stuff. That's how he should have handled it. But she was all like in her feelings about it, like he had rejected her and hurt her or something. It was just the weirdest thing. So y'all need to get it together. Question number 9. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group from Arizona. She's Caucasian. Male 22 to 27. He's also Caucasian. Summary of issue. I got ghosted after my first ever date at 26. That's your first date? Well, hello. I love the channel. I'm new here. I am 27 and I have never been on a date until now. To get some experience, my friends suggested the swipey things. As I learned, we say on the channel. Yes, that is what we call it. I only had one conversation go very decent. The guy asked to go on a date. He suggested a bar to get drinks. And you were supposed to say no. That means you haven't been on the channel long enough. Your first date is not a drink, ever. Okay, so let's see what else happened here. I realized maybe it's not a good idea. Oh, good. Okay, you pulled this out. So I suggested ice cream. Good job. He said yes, but when I asked for the date, he never replied. I unmatched him and clicked profile refreshed on my account. And I looked into the likes I got and he was there, so I matched. He made a joke that we did this before and I said he didn't answer me back. He said he was busy with work but still wants to meet me. We set up the date and I met him at a bar. See, so he's got his way now. Did you pick that up? I felt very awkward, but he kept the conversation going. I did too. There was no flirting. I'm not sure if I did that part wrong. We spent an hour together because he had to meet his sister after. When I got home, I expected him to ghost, but he said, "Text me when you're home," with a heart. I said it was nice meeting. Thanks for the date. He started some small talk about a shared interest we had. I replied I thought he was actually possibly still interested, but he took hours to reply. When he did, he asked me how was work. I answered no reply, and it's been 4 days. I don't think I'm emotionally mature enough to date because I got stuck on this one guy, and no other conversations from the app worked out or made it to a first date. Was I dumb? And since he didn't ask for a second date very quick, should I have given up? He said he was looking for a relationship, but he spoke about his ex and her, and he said he had a few other dates from the app. I think he saw my inexperience when he said, quote, "Do you like not to go out a lot?" Randomly. Please help me. I think I was the fool. Well, I'm not going to say you was a fool, but you did a couple of things that okay, I was starting to get on your case about the bar date. And so you suggested ice cream, but he never came through with it. So then you matched him again. He suggested bar date, and then this time you go. Mistake. If you say no, no. Okay, that was your first mistake. Understand when you tell a man no, you have to back your no up, not just words, with actions. So if he said bar date, you were supposed to say, "Didn't we do this already? I told you I'm not going out drinking on the first date." But see, you reverse course. So now what does that message does that send a man when you reverse course like that so easily? It lets him know that you don't really mean what you say, that your boundaries are weak, and that you're desperate for male attention to the point where you're gonna forgo your own safety concerns in order to have a date. That's what that means. So that part, please keep that in mind in the future. If once you say no to something, they suggest something, you say no, you stay on the no page. All right. So then there was no flirting. And hours to get that's plenty of time for a first date, especially with alcohol involved. I think you are emotionally mature enough to date, but this is the part that since it was your first date, you went into it with too many expectations. When you're dating, it's nothing. Just look at it as an opportunity to get to know somebody, because that's all it really is. You get to know them, and they might fall into the category of, well, this train stops here very abruptly because this is a fool, or you might say, oh, well, this guy was pleasant, so then you go on date number 2. Sometimes you don't go on date number 2, but you still continue to talk to them because They're funny or interesting. You guys have a lot in common, but there's no spark. There's no romantic interest. So they go into the friend zone. That's the third option. But a lot of times people on these apps, they're not looking for friends, so that option gets eliminated. So think about what I'm saying here and try to like ratchet back your expectations. Every man you meet is not going to be a relationship. You should not even tell men that you're looking for a relationship. Just say, I'm just looking to meet people that I get along with. Okay, ratchet that down. Ratchet it down. Because you start telling every man that you're looking for a relationship, well, they're gonna be like the players gonna be like one relationship coming right up because they want to tap them draws. And a lot of you went, well, I will only sleep with someone when I'm in a relationship. And so they give you a quote relationship, and then they tap it, and then they be gone. Okay, so you don't say that. This is where me and my cousin, there's a video on the channel, the Deb and Joy video series, where we talked about this, telling people, what you're looking for. She's of the mind that you should, and I'm of the mind that you should not. Especially, you're just meeting somebody, and you start trouting out what you're looking for and stuff, they're going to parrot that shit right back to you. Because they have an agenda. Well, I'm looking for, this and that, and I would like to be married by the time I'm 28 and have 2 children by the time I'm 35, and gonna have a family vacation and buy a home in wherever, and just you just got your whole life mapped out, and you tell him all this stuff. You just giving him like this play-by-play to manipulate and control you emotionally. You don't never tell men all that stuff. It was like, what you looking for? I'll know it when I find it, says Deborah. Or they, even worse, they say, well, I'm looking for a relationship. I say, really? Why are you looking for a relationship? That's so like 90s. Just hang out and have a good time. What you tripping on? We barely know each other. Why are you saying something, even mention that word? Or they say, well, I'm just trying, what you looking for? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just out here just having a good time. Well, I thought all women want a relationship. No, not all of them. So whatever they say that they want, I usually will say the opposite, just to be a contrarian. But yeah, I know when I see it, that backs them up, and you're not giving them no information. And it's true, you will know when you see it. But just because you hear and you say that you want what I want, that don't mean it's true. Well, and then what you gonna do if he's tall, dark, handsome, and funny? See, then he's gonna think that he's what you're looking for. So his way of handling you is going to change. That's why I never give them any specifics. Never, never, no specifics, nothing. I don't tell them age. I don't tell them race. I don't tell them height. I don't tell them weight. I don't tell them about income. I don't tell them about hobbies, interests, religion, belief, nothing. Education. I don't tell them nothing. I'll know when I see it, and that's gonna be good enough. You're gonna like that answer, and that's just all you're gonna get out of me. Y'all be giving me too much information, even though you think that that's not, that's not a lot. That is a lot. Question number 10. This is a female in the 20 to 34 age group. She's Black from Virginia. The male is 50 to 56. Oh, this must be her daddy. He's also Black. Same issue. Was my father-in-law's touch inappropriate? I don't know if I'm overreacting or not, but I felt myself freeze completely during this incident. I went to a black tie event with my in-laws. My husband was not with us until later that evening. At the event, friends of my in-laws offered to take a group photo of us three. I was standing in the middle with my mother-in-law's arm on my shoulder, and my father-in-law placed his arm around my back, and his hand was resting on my waist. He started moving his thumb up and down, up to where my bra would be if I had worn one, and then slowly started gliding his hand down to my hips and back up again until we were done with the photos. I completely froze and felt like I couldn't move. Nothing happened afterwards. Okay. I don't see my in-laws often since we live in different states, but we have a good relationship. They are nice and very successful people, but the family in general isn't as warm and close as mine due to cultural differences. The only time my husband or I have physical contact with them is during hello and goodbye hugs at the airport. I can't trust my judgment at the moment because maybe he didn't realize what he was doing or didn't mean it or meant it in a more supportive way. Nope, you making excuses for a pervert. To me, it felt a bit inappropriate and more like how my husband would touch me. Exactly. What you were supposed to do is immediately when his hands start wandering, Switch places with your mother-in-law. That's what you're supposed to do. Push her to the middle. Let his hands wander over her back and her booty. The second thing you're supposed to do is tell your husband what happened. Wait until your husband is in his like pajama bottoms with no shirt, and then reenact the scene and tell him that's what your father-in-law did to you, and tell him that you don't really feel comfortable being around that man alone ever again. Okay, then you put that ball in his court and let him handle his nasty ass daddy. Remember that dude? I forgot who it was. Did that to Ariana Grande during that was it the Aretha Franklin thing or something? I don't know, it was some kind of show anyway. She was up there and this very well-known black older dude, and I forget his name. He ran his hands all up and down her and stuff on the stage in front of everybody and down to her hip. And just in front of everybody, like the cameras there, gave no fucks. And I remember seeing that because I think that was like the last time I watched one of those kind of shows. I was at my cousin's house. I was horrified that happened to her. And it's like, an essay right on the stage. It's unbelievable. I don't know. I couldn't have been in show business because my wild ass would have thrown somebody, flung his ass off the stage. They're taught to be nice instead of embarrassing. Yeah, exactly. And then, it's that freezing part that bothers me. So many women freeze that deer in headlights kind of response instead of responding. But I mean, even she didn't say anything, just pushing, just switching places. She didn't have to say a word. Just push the mother-in-law to the middle and step to the side. That would have communicated, that's gross. I'm not down with it. But the fact that she stayed there and let him continue, it sends a mixed message. One, yes, she was scared, but to him, it means that she liked it. She was okay with it. So the next time he sees her and there he has an opportunity, he's going to escalate. And he's going to be grabbing her butt or boobs or something. He did today. Is that true? It was Aretha Franklin's funeral. I thought it had something to do with Aretha Franklin, but I didn't remember what the event was. Wow. She deserved it. That's terrible. Yeah, them religious women are scary people. They tend to be the most evil-hearted bitches in the world. I can't with them when they start, especially the ones that go to church all the time. Like, why do you need to go to church all the time? Because normal people just go to just once a week or once a month, or they CMEs or something. That's Christmas, Mother's Days, and Easter. That's enough. But you in the church 3-4 times a week, 5 times a week, you got a whole bunch of hell going on in your spirit that you trying to absolve yourself of. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, thank you for telling us, but we don't really care, just to be blunt, because I can't stand his ass. So thank you. Now you can go away with that. We stop talking about it. We're talking about advice columns here, not Steve Hart. Okay, look. I can see that you just want to be ridiculous. So we're going to ban user and delete comments. Thank you. I asked you to stop and you didn't. All right. See, Deborah has very firm boundaries. I'm going to tell you one time, whether it's a man, a child, a boss, whatever, I really don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell you one time, and you're going to do what I tell you, or you're going to suffer the repercussions. I'm not going to tell you, say it twice. You just be like, gone. That's how you do things, ladies. Now, do you have to be as savage as me? You might want to say it twice. But I'm old now. I say it one time. Shit, your ears was working. Yeah. Seriously, Diana. That's been my experience as well. The ones that be going to church all the time and just like, just like 4, 5, 6 times a week, they tend to be the worst. Let's move on. So she talked about her father-in-law. That's pretty horrifying. Question number 11. This is a male in the 22 to 27 age group from Houston. The female is 22 to 27, and they're both black. Yeah, I know you would be shocked, but my thing is, I don't know. I don't have that freeze thing. I have that hood rat girlfriend girl from the hood kind of mentality. Like, motherfucker, are you losing? Have you lost your mind? Get your hands off of me. You be running your hands up and down my back. The fuck? But she, she's the kind that freezes. The more genteel and kind, obviously. Okay, so 22 to 27, they're both black. Summer issue. My girlfriend has the TV on constantly when we're at home and she never turns it off. Oh, that would drive me nuts. Deb, she also has no hobbies whatsoever, and we live in a small apartment, so the only place I can get away from listening to the TV constantly is the bedroom. Of course, I don't want to spend all my time in the bedroom. I've asked her multiple times to take a break from the TV sometimes, and she gets mad and says that it's what she likes to do to relax, and I should leave her alone. I'm starting to lose my mind never having silence at the house, or at least not listening to the TV. And even worse, she always watches reality TV, which is full of obnoxious sounding people screaming all the time. What should I do? You should move out. You should move out and break up. I'm telling you, noise is used in war times of war to torture prisoners. So basically, what you're doing is torturing yourself. You're getting tortured. For a relationship. So you need to rethink this relationship because really, why she watching TV so much? Shouldn't she be spending some time cuddling and cooing and talking to you? You can't talk like that. Have those kind of intimate conversations with the TV on. I don't know. My TV will stay off for weeks. I read books on my iPad and my I have like 3 tablets. I have an iPad and a Samsung and a Google tablet. I like the Google one the best, I think. Okay, I have to see. I have a comment. Got married and was a flower girl. Okay, hold on a second. Let me put it because I can't see. My older cousin got married and I was a flower girl at 8 and my other cousin was 10. We're grown and the roommate passes, okay. Told on him and the people painted her as the delusional. Wow. So wait, I want to make sure I understand this. Did he make a pass at her when she was 10 years old? Is that what you're saying? Was that when he was in the wedding, or did he make a pass recently after being in their wedding when she was 10 years old? That's open for interpretation. Please clarify so I make sure I understand what you're trying to say here. But you can type it in there. I'm gonna go on and yeah, just clarify that, honey Lamour. Did he do this when she was 10, or did he do it recently after you guys were in his wedding? Them years ago. So that's that. I'm curious. All right. So anyway, dude, that's what you need to do. You need to move out and tell her that you can't take it. It's disturbing you can't, your mind can't rest like that. And I have some friends. Oh, okay. When you're grown. All right. Yeah, that's trifling. Well, that's how these women do. They don't want to blame the man. They want to, absolve him of all responsibility, and they want to blame other women. Like the woman just, went after their raggedy ass husband. Nobody wants your raggedy ass husband. I just, I don't want these raggedy, trifling husbands. Why would somebody want a husband who did something like that? Please keep your pet away from me. Question number 11, no, 12, I'm sorry. Female 20 to 34, she's Caucasian from the UK. Male 20 to 34, the same. Some of the issues. Should my friend pay for half of her partner's broken laptop? My friend and the guy she's seeing had a freak accident during Nook Nook in which his work laptop got broken. She had rolled him over, leading to him falling off the bed and onto his work laptop, which he had left on the floor. He was upset as this is the second one of his work laptops that he broke. He's also under observation at work for underperforming. Because of this, he decided to pay for the laptop to be replaced himself so as not to notify his workplace. My friend had offered to put some money towards the new laptop since she was the one who did the rolling, about 40 pounds, although he has now asked her to pay for half the amount, £150. I think this is unfair, as he was the one who left it on an important piece of property belonging to his workplace on the floor. Also, he would not be having to replace the laptop himself if he had not already broken one previously. After the incident first happened, my friend lent him an old laptop of hers for a couple of weeks. I think this, including the offer to put some money towards a new one, is sufficient. What do you think, Deb? I think she was nice. I wouldn't offer him shit. Because, first of all, who leaves a laptop on the floor? Who does that? Who does that? On the floor, for real? Why would you not put it on a table, on a desk, on shit, even if it was on a chair, someplace on the nightstand, on a bookshelf, somewhere? Definitely not on the floor like it's a shoe. So yeah, of course it got broken. I wouldn't have gave him nothing because the fact that if he hadn't broken the other one before, he could just turn it into work and say, "Oh, it had an accident. I was sleeping. I pushed it off the bed and fell on it in my sleep." He could have made up a story like that. I was so exhausted. I was working in bed, and then that's what happened. And then they would be like, "Oh," and they would replace it. But since he already did that, he's in the habit of breaking laptops. Well, now he's gonna have to cover it himself. I don't know, but people they gonna try to save their money and get in your pocket. That's how this goes. They're gonna try to flip the script and make you think that you did something wrong. But nothing would have happened if he hadn't left it on the floor. So that's his fault. It's like you driving drunk. Well, yeah, the other person may have run a light or been going too fast or something. But the fact that you behind the wheel drunk and couldn't react properly makes you at fault. So the damage is, you was behind the wheel drunk. If you had been drunk, you would have been able to hit the brakes. If you had been drunk, you would have seen. You could have dodged out the way. You wouldn't have hit the person. All kind of stuff wouldn't happen if you had been drunk. So the fact that you were drunk mitigates all other stuff because you the main one that was wrong here. I don't know. These men just be tripping. Question 13. This is a female in the 20 to 34 age group. Okay, how do you pronounce it? Joliet? Is that Joliet? Illinois, and she's white, and the male is 28 to 34. He's white too. Some issue. My partner made a very morbid joke. Am I overreacting? Last night, him and I were playing our PC games. He had been drinking vodka, which I told him I don't like because he acts awful when he drinks it. Our internet went out and he got so angry. This isn't the first time. Another time it happened, he went ballistic like a toddler throwing a tantrum. This time he started telling me that if he was ever to see a spectrum representative, he would say this and that. But then, Deb, he said one thing that would disturb me greatly. He said that he wished something evil would happen to their daughters. I'm not going to type it out, but it is a criminal act against women's bodies. SA, that's what she means. I feel so sad just typing this right now. I asked him if he were to say something like that to his female friends, how they would feel, and he thought about it for a second like they wouldn't mind. Deb, is it just me? He didn't apologize for it and today claims it was just a morbid joke. I told him that in my eyes, when people can easily say morbid things, that there's a small part of them that is okay with acting on it. He said that doesn't even make sense. We have been together for 5 years, and this has just gutted me to my stomach. What do I do? You break up with him. Let me tell you something about men and anybody in alcohol. Alcohol does not put thoughts into your head. What alcohol does is loosen your inhibitions. The things that make you socially aware of what you should and should not say to people and the possible repercussions of those words or actions, that's what alcohol eliminates. Those little breaks right there, they just go up in smoke when you start drinking. So what happens is the thoughts that you already had, the feelings you already had, the beliefs you already had, and stuff you was keeping under wraps because maybe not socially acceptable. All of those things come rushing out once you start drinking. So what you have is a boyfriend who is an idiot. He's highly immature. He's got anger management issues up the yin yang. And the fact that he would wish that somebody's little girl would get SA because his internet went out. He wants the fathers to suffer that kind of thing and the daughters to suffer that because his internet went out. That ought to tell you right there that you're dealing with somebody who's totally fucked up. The fact that you have been with him for 5 years, I'm sure there's been other issues that you question some of the stuff that he said and did. Probably not to this extreme, though. But if you know that he acts a fool when he drinks vodka and you don't like him, the man who drinks vodka and acts a fool, then why did you stay with him for 5 years? So see, this comes back on you. Like we were just talking about Diana said that's contributory negligence. Well, it might be because, she knew that this was a situation and she stayed in it. Why would you do that? Yeah, Sliver said exactly right. So I don't know if I couldn't respect a man who said anything like that. I would not trust him around any little girls like in my family, my friends' kids, any kids, because of his evil thought processes. Why would you want to hurt a child because you mad because your internet went out? Girl, the fact that you even spent time to think about it and write this letter is kind of shocking. You should have been packing your stuff and getting up out of there. Question number 14. This is a female in 18 to 21 age group. She's white from the UK. Third issue. My boyfriend always turns any criticism he gets onto me or someone else. I'm 19. I've been with my 20-year-old boyfriend for just over a year. He lives with me at my family's house. He's a lovely guy and we get on really well. I do love him a lot. However, I've begun to notice that I cannot criticize him or mention anything that he does that sort of annoys me without him turning it back on me and not taking responsibility. Well, that's typical of this generation. I'm not a nagger, by the way, and it's only been recently that I've started to mention to him stuff that irks me. For example, I asked him not to leave his bassy pouches. I don't know what the BACC, what you mean back? I don't know what you think, tobacco maybe? Backy pouches on the dining table, and he just pointed out that other people's stuff was on the table too, which I get, but at the same time, I never said that their stuff being there is okay. He didn't take responsibility for it and still leaves them on there. Number two, I was trying to sleep. I had work the next day. He was watching stuff on the TV in bed after coming back from seeing his friends. I asked if he could turn it off and watch it on his phone, to which he made me seem like I was crazy for not being able to sleep with, quote, background noise. I told him that the light from the TV was keeping me up as well. He did turn it off, but then kept pointing out stupid stuff like the standby light and asked if that was bothering me too. Well, he really can't take criticism at all. He thinks his ass is perfect, little narcissist. Number three, I've asked him to put his underwear in the washing basket rather than leaving it on the bed and the floor. He insists that I do it all the time too. He acts like I'm some slob and he does all the tidying, which is completely untrue. I admit I've left my underwear on the floor from getting changed and going to sleep, but 99% of the time in the morning I do put it in the basket. But he'll leave it all day and then they'll come home from work and then tidy it all up. Well, then why do you clean up after him? Just leave it on the floor. Walk on it. Put shoe prints on it. Go and take it outside and then walk in the dirt, walk on his underwear and then go put it back where he had it on the floor. That's what I would do. Even though they're small things, I end up feeling really invalidated when he just switches the conversation to talk about the terrible things I do and acts like I'm crazy for finding something irritating. No, what you need to do is realize that you're with an idiot and tell him, look, either get your shit together and stop doing that, or you're going to have to move out because I'm going to break up with you. So which one do you want? I want a man who's accountable for himself and not trying to, like always when somebody calls him on his shit. Well, what about you? What about you? That's so immature. And it makes me discuss it with you and it makes me lose respect. I can't be with a man that I don't respect. So that's where this relationship is headed because of your attitude and your lack of accountability for yourself and your choice and your actions. I'm not feeling it. And I sure wouldn't be sleeping with him. He's like, well, let's do something. No, because every time I look at them underwears on the floor and them backy pouches on the table, I lose interest in intimacy with you. And let him get a taste of that. But yeah, I would do that. I would take his take his underwear outside and walk on him with his dirty feet and then go and put it back on the floor. I would never pick his stuff up. You know how I learned that lesson from? My mother. I was about 8 years old. My father had come in, and my mother, she would usually keep clean up. But I guess at some she just reached a tipping point. So my dad comes and he takes his suit off and he throws it on the back of this chair that they had. He has one on his side of the bed and she has one named the nightstand stuff. So they had these little chairs they could sit and put nice shoes on and all that kind of stuff. So he throws his suit on the side of the chair. So about a week later, it was still there. And my father was like, "Why is my suit still on the back of the chair?" My mother said, "Well, that's where you put it. I thought that's where you wanted it." That was beautiful. And it made such an impression on me and the expression on his face. So then he balled his suit up and took it to the dry cleaner and got it. And then he hung it up in the closet after that. And after that, he never left his suits on the back of the chair anymore. My mother taught him a very valuable lesson. And that was the greatest thing for an 8-year-old girl to see, to not, to have a boundary there. I'm not cleaning up after you. Clean up after your own shit. And so, yeah, it took her a while to get there, but she did. And I was happy I witnessed it. Yeah, it does make for a dry kitty. I'm telling you, I'm like, see, if you got to treat, these men don't realize it. If a woman has to treat you like a child, then she can't respect you as her man. So you have to pick one. Either you're going to be her baby, honey, darling little cupcake, and then she's going to treat you like you 5, or she's going to have the respect and admiration and passion for you as a man. Which one do you want? You don't get to mix and match. It don't work that way. Question number 14. This is a male, 18 to 21. He's white in the UK. The female is 18 to 21. She's of mixed race. Summary of the issue. Is it appropriate for me to give my opinion on what my girlfriend is wearing? So my girlfriend is going out for a meal at the weekend with some of her friends, and she told me about an outfit she was thinking about getting, but wasn't sure because it was a bit slaggy. Her words. Does that mean hoish? After she showed me, I can say it's really revealing, which is quite the opposite to what she usually wears, but she had already bought it by the time I saw it. I just want to know if it's appropriate for me to say what I think about it and how I should express my thoughts. I would never stop her from wearing it, of course, and I don't want her to feel as though she wasted her money. So I just want to hear some other women's opinions. For extra context, is that this would be a reply to, quote, "Is it bad?" asked by her, but obviously after it has already been purchased. Would really appreciate any opinions, ladies. I don't want to make a misstep here. Good for you. I would say the answer to your question is no. It's not okay. A, that ain't your wife. B, she didn't ask you for no money to buy it, so you ain't invested in this situation. And C, she's wearing it to go out with her friends, not with you. Now, if she was wearing it to some event like where you was taking them to your job or to meet your parents or something, well, then you might be able to say, "Honey, can you put on something a little more conservative? This is an older crowd. They're probably not going to appreciate your hotness. Let's save that for when it's a date when just me and you," or something like that. You could get away with it in a situation like that. But she's going out with her friends. She's single. She might be your girlfriend, but that ain't your wife. You don't get to dictate nothing. You don't even get to have an opinion. All you get to say is, if she says it looks bad, then you're not gonna say it looks bad because you know it's gonna look good on her. You just don't like it because it's gonna be totally revealing. So you're just gonna do this. That's all you're gonna do. You don't have to say words. You're gonna put your thumb up and you're gonna smile at her and send her on her way. Tell her if she runs into any issues to text you or call you. That's what you're gonna do. These men be tripping, especially the ones like they meet the girl and she's dressed as she says like a slag, and he all over. He loving it. But then as soon as they become a couple, then suddenly he wanted to dress like she's a Mormon, up to the neck, down to the floor. Yeah, I don't do well with that controlling stuff. Question number, God, I can't see, 15. Male, 35 to 42. He's Latino from San Antonio. The female is 20 to 34. She's also Latino. Summary of issue. What should I do about dating a single mom with 3 children aged 14, 12, and 10? The 2 oldest are boys and the youngest is a girl. So the 10-year-old's a girl, the 12 and 14 are boys. Ooh. I have many issues about all 3 after me and this lady decided to date. I've been knowing her for some time now, even though when the 3 younger, as far as the little girl, was still in diapers. I became a great friend with her and we got along well. We had a 3 or 4 year gap and then we were just friends, but we met back up and instantly became true lovers and we were there for each other like we never separated. The feeling is wonderful. Okay, speeding it up now, as the kids have gotten older, I started seeing how progress, I think he means no progress, majority growth, no respectfulness and laziness out of this world. He put laziness in caps. It's gotten to the point, I know it's part of their mother's fault, which who spoils them and rewards them even when they've done wrong things. There's no structure, there's no consequences, there's nothing. I know it's partially due to the fact how their mother is raising them. It's really difficult and affecting my love for her kids and my passion for their mother. It's like I can't say anything or share any helpful, positive thoughts to handle things. All she says is, I know I'm old school. And I'm like, but where? The things your kids have done and gotten away with in the house, my butt would have been sore for weeks. Can you give me something I need to say or do? Because it comes down to me walking away. I know deep down all hell will break loose with her kids. It isn't going to be good. I appreciate anybody's response. I'll be listening and reading the chat. Thank you, ladies. On this channel is a video called "Badass Badass Kids and Single Mothers Dating" or something along those lines. And it shows this little girl on the cover. She got her stomach stuck out, her hands on her going like that. That's the thumbnail. But I talk about that very issue. How so many mothers don't discipline their children. They don't make them have any chores. They're not accountable, responsible. They just let them get away with murder. And then they try to have a man who's used to, an old school guy who's used to structure and regulations and children behaving themselves and doing as they're told. And then they clash because the mother has like no kind of control over her children at all. And this guy comes in and he's just looking at her, and so he loses interest in her. So he may have been very interested in her, but after some point he has to let the relationship go because of her way of really her parenting is so bad. This is a repetitive pattern when women that's on these apps. You're trying to date and stuff. You want to get a new relationship going, but you don't have no control over your kids. Them dudes are not gonna stay with you. They're gonna tap it and dip out. It's too much trouble to be with you. They don't want to suffer all that disrespect. They shouldn't because it's not their children. You see where I'm going with this? So you set yourself up to be single for the rest of your life because of the fact that you have badass kids. Yes, I think that's in the title of the thing. But yeah, he's going to end up having to leave her. He doesn't want to, you can tell, because he knows the kids are going to have a meltdown. But the only thing you can do up to this point is sit them all down and say, look, the things that are going on in this household, I can't stand it. I'm going to ask each of you to make some changes. If you make them, then I can continue to be around here. If you refuse to make them, then I will have to leave because I can't take the disrespect. And then you set everything out. Have your list already written out. Give it to each one of the kids and give it to her. Everybody should have a separate list, though, that outlines their particular behavior that you want to see changed. And if they refuse to change it, then you say, okay, well, then I have no choice but for my own mental and emotional health to leave this situation. I'll be out by Friday. And then be gone. Yeah, I can't deal with some bad. I was out yesterday at a restaurant with with some friends, right? It's an older couple. I've been knowing them for 25, 30 years or something. I mean, it's ridiculous. So we met up and we had, a little late lunch. And these kids, two little white girls, okay, this is like an outside patio, the kind where they had those heater things, and we're sitting outside. It was cold as hell, but they like to sit outside all the time. So I have worn like long johns and all kind of stuff because I know they want to sit outside and freeze. So anyway, there's nobody out there in that part of the patio but us. Everybody else was inside. So these little girls, they run around, right? They run. There's room to run outside of this square where all these tables were, but no. They want to run through it right past our table, right past the table. Okay, so the third time through, I put my hand up and said, "Stop running through here. It's not no goddamn playground. Run. I go on the outside of the tables. We're trying to eat here. Okay, we don't want to hear all that noise. Go. This is not a playground." So then they go away, and about a minute later, 2 minutes maybe, they did it again. So then this time, the guy who was with us, stopped them and told them to go away. So then they, went inside with their parents, probably to whine and cry about it. And I was waiting for somebody to come out so I could just ream them. They want you to know how to teach your kids how to fucking act. You don't go running around in a restaurant. This is like a goddamn park. People over here, we're paying money to have a nice, relaxing time and eat our food, and your kids are disturbing our time. Are you going to pay for our meals and reimburse us? So that's why I had to prepare my speech. But they never came out. They probably, could see that I had that look like, please come out here. I had hood rat face on and my sunglasses was down like this so I could look over them. Like, I'll light your ass up right quick. Tell you all about yourself and your non-parenting ass. But they never came, and I was like, dang it. But yeah, this is a problem, the way that people raise their children. Your children should have never been outside running around in a restaurant like that. Whether it's an outdoor space or not, there's a whole courtyard down where the shops are closed and stuff. They could have run down there. Why they got to run where there's people and disturbing them? Mm-mm. All right, let's move on. Here's another one. Looks like it's about badass kids. Question number 16. This is a female, 28 to 34. She's from Santa Rosa, California. She's Caucasian. The male's 35 to 42. So she's younger, 28 to 34, and he's 35. Okay. Am I in the wrong for not allowing my boyfriend's 12-year-old son to live with us after he had a violent outburst towards me? No. I've been together with my boyfriend, let's call him Ray, for about 7 years, and we've been living together for 2 in a house that I inherited from my great aunt. During our relationship, Ray hasn't been the best father to his son, whose name is Junior. He would have almost sporadic weekends and some school breaks. There was never a formal agreement between him and his ex. I really don't think he made the effort he could have. Junior does have some issues with ADHD and autism and was previously on some different medications that because of an insurance issue, he has not been on those medications lately. This past weekend, Ray had to work and I was watching Junior. It was overall a good day, but everything went downhill. It was time for him to bring Junior back to his mom's house. He wanted to bring a toy with, I'm not going to go into all these details. It's a lot of small pieces and really messy. I told him he couldn't bring it to his mom, and that was the beginning of a huge fit. I tried to take the toy away from him so we could leave, and he got violent, pushing and punching me. What? I should not have tried to take the toy. Then he tried to leave the house. I managed to stop him from leaving, which in hindsight was also a bad idea. Yeah, let that little motherfucker run away and get hit by a car. Then he started hitting the window in the living room. I tried to stop him, and again there was more punching and hitting me with his toy. I would have dropped that kid. I wasn't able to stop him then, and he ended up breaking the window in the living room. Wow. There was a lot of arguing and yelling, and at one point he even grabbed a knife from the kitchen and stabbed through a baking sheet on the stove. He did come at me for a moment, but he ended up throwing the knife at the refrigerator. Eventually, he locked himself in his bedroom and hopped out the window and left the house. This whole fight left me with a bump on my head, some bruising on my arm, and just generally sore from trying to restrain him. At that point, I called the cops to come and pick him up. While all this was going on, I was trying to get in contact with my boyfriend, but his phone wasn't working, and the number I had for Junior's mom was disconnected. Okay, so then, the problem is that he was supposed to come and live with Ray and myself during the summer and potentially beyond that. However, the whole incident made me realize that I do not want him to live here, not until he gets help and shows improvement in managing himself. I'm physically a small lady, and Junior's already taller than me. He's only going to get bigger. I'm honestly worried that this will happen again, and he might actually seriously hurt me or someone else. I don't feel like we are equipped to give him the help that he needs. Also, after talking to his mom, I found out that he has punched and hit on her on numerous occasions, and that the school had given up on him and lets him do whatever he wants because he gets violent with the staff. I told my boyfriend that I don't want Junior living here, but he strongly feels that it will not get better if he continues living with his mom. I do agree with that, but I also feel traumatized from the whole situation. I can't imagine having to walk on eggshells and be afraid of my own home. I told my boyfriend to get an apartment if he wants Junior to live with him. We could still maintain our relationship, we just wouldn't live together. My boyfriend was upset by this and told me that I have to be with him 100% or not at all. Well, then not at all, motherfucker. Their decisions made. I feel I'm prioritizing my health and safety rather than my relationship. But is that the wrong choice? Absolutely not. Should I allow a son to live with us? Absolutely not. The relationship is over. If I don't, fine. I do feel like the child needs help, but I think he needs more help than we can give. Yeah, he sounds like he needs to be in an institution. Ray has to schedule some appointments with therapists and a psychiatrist. This could be the end of the relationship. But it's really not what Ray wants, nor what I want, but I don't know what we can do to find a compromise. Ray feels like I'm running away because it got hard, but I feel like I'm trying to prioritize my safety. I'd be willing to help in some other way. I repeat, I do want to help Ray's son, but I don't want it to stay in my house. Any advice or suggestions on a better compromise would be appreciated. That's like saying I'm going to be partially pregnant. There's no such thing. Ray insists on living in a house that's your house, that you inherited. So even if you married Ray, it would never become his property. Okay, so he has no say so on what goes on in them four walls. He wants to say, well, you gotta, like, he's trying to like manipulate and coerce you. Well, we have to live together or the relationship's over. Okay. That would have been my answer. That's fine. Man, you know what? We did some shit like that. First of all, you guys would not know me because I would be like, she would have been at my funeral because my mother was crazy and my father was crazier. We wasn't gonna play with them people like that. We know you would be through a wall or something. Worse yet, through a window, flung into the street and let cars run over you, anything. My father's temper was worse, like 10 times, magnify my temper and magnify that by 10. And you go to, he punched my brother one time. I know I told you guys a story. My brother got jiggy, the oldest brother, got jiggy with my mother and told her, I don't have to do what you say because this is my father's house. My mother told my daddy came in there and said, you gonna buck up to your mother like that and disrespect her? She's the one taking care of y'all. I'm not here. I'm out working. You gonna listen to her. And he said something about father. Said, oh, so you gonna talk to me like you were in on the street? Now, this my brother was about 14, 15 years old at this time. So we're not talking about a little child. He's, on close to adulthood. My daddy, was not a tall man, he made 5'10", but he was so strong, he used to be able to lift refrigerators on his back and carry them upstairs. This man got into a boxing pose. Boop, my brother right in his chest, right here in the solar plexus, knocked all the wind out that boy. He was on the floor gasping for air so long. We were scared. Like, is he going to die? Because he was not breathing. So my mother had to like get him to relax, so these muscles will relax so he could catch a breath. After that, his mouth would stay shut. The only thing he said to my daddy was, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Got it, sir. That's what it took because him to get his mouth in check. So in a situation like this, they people use, well, these ADHD and autism and all that kind of stuff. Those things don't make you act stupid, spoiled, entitled, and violent. They just make you have problems with controlling yourself in other ways. But you choose to be violent. You choose to strike out at people. You choose to pick up knives and think that that's appropriate. All those things should have been beat out of his little ass a long time ago. So you're not going to treat people like that. I will beat your ass, little boy. You out your mind. So you know what I mean? Yeah, he put him in check, honey. I'm telling you, we were so scared because he was not catching the breath for a long time. Like, but when he got up, he was a new person. He had been reborn. No, he wasn't. He was. I didn't mess with him. I didn't mess with him. All my daddy had to do was tell me that I disappointed him, and I would cry for a week. But my brothers, I don't know. There's something about them, that testosterone, I guess. They just had to get, they just had to get hit. And so then they would get understand. They would get just like, oh, I understand now. But I didn't want none of that. He wasn't trying to do that to me because he thought it would be bad. It would be, girls shouldn't be getting hit by their fathers because it teaches them that it's okay for a man to hit them. So he spanked me one time in my life, and after that he never did anything like that again. And that he said that was the reason he thought about it. Like, no, I'm not. So my mother, if I had to get a spanking, my mother gave it to me. But yeah, I'll never forget that shit. But that's the kind of stuff, that's why boys need strong fathers. This father did not have a relationship with his son. His son's acting out, like the girl said. But she's right to say, well, that's fine. You can live with your son if you want to. But then our relationship is over. I don't want no parts of him. He's not coming to my house anymore. Because what she's not looking at it, even if they continue the relationship, he would come over. Right? He's going to have custody. He's going to want to come over and visit, spend the night and stuff. He's going to bring the boy with him. So the boy will be in your house, whether you're, So the only way for her to be safe is to get rid of this man and his son in one fell swoop. That's it. Question number 17. This is a female in the 20 to 34 age group. She's white from Caucasian. White/Caucasian from the UK. The male is 28 to 34 as well. Summary of issue. My fiance does not support my need to change careers the way I would expect him to. He is a nice person, but am I thinking for too much? Just for some context, we're in our early 30s. We've been together for almost 3 years now, and we're getting married in July. Okay, here we go. That fiance again. However, since we met, I've been working in finance, which I don't enjoy anymore. I wake up feeling like I want to cry. that this is not me anymore. I have zero motivation, even at work. I keep procrastinating on doing tasks until the last minute. I've also always derived my self-worth from my work because that's what my mother taught me. But it's only recently I have realized that my work is not me, that there is more to life than work. Hence, I have been thinking of making the move to a different department like HR, something I've always wanted to do. However, whenever I talk to my fiance about this, he doesn't seem too keen. He says that what else is going to be as good as finance? Like his reasoning, I wake up like hit this morning. I'm sorry, like this morning. I woke up and while I was still in bed, I told him that I just had a realization that finance is not for me. I don't think I can do this for too much longer. He had no reaction. He just kept staring into his laptop sitting across the room, and he did not even acknowledge what I was saying. No words of moral support, like we'll figure it out then, don't worry, and what's their plan, etc. All he did was a few sighs and touch his hand on his forehead, like he is frustrated at me even talking about this. He is a high achiever and he really does work extremely hard, even though his job does not make him particularly happy, but I think he expects me to do the same. But I am a different person. I have started to value my life and mental health more than some corporate job. Yes, of course, I understand that I need a plan, but at least I'm expecting from him is that he will support me in this process, be there emotionally, probe with questions, and so that we can figure this out together. Right now, even though we're getting married in a few weeks, I feel like I'm on my own in this. Am I overreacting, Deb? Am I asking for too much? A part of me is also concerned, is this the person I'd want to spend my life with who could not support me in something that is important to me and my mental health? Exactly. And I'm glad that you're thinking about this before you say I do. The reason why he wants you to stay in finance is because it's prestigious and you probably will make more money. You make more money. So it's to his advantage for you to stay in finance and make a lot of money for him to help you spend. By you working in HR or something like that, that's going to be stressful too, but not nearly as much as dealing with money. Um, one way that you could pose it to him is like, with the stress that this is under, how could I have a viable pregnancy and have time to raise a family? Are you thinking long term or are you just looking at the money? You need to ask him that because that's what I think he's doing. And then ask him, did you ever plan for us to have children and stuff like that? Because we can't do, we can't live like this and try to raise a family with both of us as stressed out and unhappy as we are right now. I'm trying to make a change that I think will be better for us in the long term. But you just want to keep things as they are. And I'm telling you, I'm miserable. I can't do it anymore, and I'm not going to. So whether you agree or not, I'm making the change. It doesn't matter because right now we're not married. And if you keep up with this kind of this attitude that you have, we won't be. So you make a decision and you make it within the next 24 hours. He wants the money that comes with it. It's prestigious and there's a lot of money to be made. That's what he's looking at. He's not looking at, what she's sacrificing. And like I said, when she's a young woman, she's looking at getting married and having children. That kind of stress will cause miscarriages or an inability to conceive. So if she wants to she has to think about that kind of stuff because to have a healthy baby that's calm and stuff, the vessel has to be calm and healthy as well. And if she's having all this unnecessary stress and strife, she hates her job, she's miserable, she's having negative hormones flowing through her body. All of that is going to affect the growing fetus. So she has to think about this kind of stuff. Men, not so much. They don't think about it. Let's move on. Question number 18. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group. She's Black from South Carolina. Summary of issue. I want to move back to my parents' house, but I'm embarrassed. Since college, I always wanted to live alone and be independent because of how strict my parents were. 2 months after graduating from college, I got a job that pays just enough. After that, I decided I wanted to live alone. In a span of 5 months, I did everything to convince my dad to let me move out with the excuse of being closer to work. Our house is actually a 2-hour commute to the office. Wow, that is a good reason. He eventually agreed. I spent all my savings for advance and deposit. For my apartment, I bought a refrigerator and other appliances just so I could feel that independence. I have invited some close friends over to celebrate. What kind of apartment did you rent but you had to buy your own refrigerator? Why did you just get one with a refrigerator? That's ridiculous. However, after 3 months, I started to hate where I live. I've been looking forward to weekends to go to my parents' house, even stayed there for like a week. And I realized how much easier life would have been if I just stayed with them. I could have saved more money. Unlike now, I just feel stuck. Bottom line is, I want to move back, but I'm embarrassed by the thought of it. My parents are not an issue. They would love to have me back home, but it was my circle that I'm anxious about. I know I shouldn't feel this way. I know I should not care about what other people say and live my life, but I just can't shake this feeling. Should I move back home or should I keep living independently because things will eventually get better soon? Well, see, what you did, the mistake you made, I mean, it's fine if you want to, but you jumped the gun too quick. You should not have moved out until you had at least 3 times as much money in the bank as you had to spend to move. You had to go into your savings to get the money for all of this stuff. You shouldn't have, that was a bad plan. You should have stayed at your parents' house, worked maybe a year, and then moved out after that. Your savings would have been intact. The money to make all this move would have been in your checking account, and then you wouldn't have these problems that you're having right now. And find a place that already had a refrigerator, stove, and all that kind of stuff as well. So now you move back to your parents. That's what you're gonna do with the refrigerator that you bought. See, I know you're probably still making payments on it. This is ridiculous. You doing too much. But I could understand her though not want to make a 2-hour commute. I wouldn't want to do that shit either. That's no. I'm like to me, 20 minutes commute that's enough. That's enough. I'm gonna move close to my job. I'm gonna have a 20-minute commute. Best job I ever had, I was able to ride my bike to work or walk. That's the ideal. Take you about 15 minutes to walk there, 6 minutes to ride on the bike. If that's my idea of a commute. I'm not commuting 2 hours to do nothing. Yeah, she's worried about what her friends are gonna say. Girl, you better worry about your wallet. Talk to your parents and tell them, I think I made a mistake. Can you help me move back? I'll just figure out maybe get you a different job that's closer to where your parents live. Since you got work experience now, try to see if you can find something else. Question number 19, female, 22 to 27. She's Asian from London. Summer issue. I want to vent about my biggest ick with men. My biggest ick is when a man talks shit about other women. Yeah, that's one of mine too. I'm 22, East Asian with monolids and pale skin, slim but curvy, and with tattoos. So I often attract men who are into exotic looking women. And these men are often specifically into Asian women because they supposedly don't like the culture and attitudes of women of other races. In other words, I'm sure they just fantasize about a quiet, obedient, and relatively innocent / inexperienced Asian woman. So, Deb, I was on a FaceTime call with a guy I met online, and he started talking about how you can set racial preferences on the swipey thing, and that he has the set to Asian and Latina. How he can't date white girls and how they age horribly with cracked skin. How he finds black women beautiful, but he can't deal with their attitudes. He's black himself. Was also telling me how he got, quote, cowfished before saying nasty things about fat women. Like, what was he trying to achieve by sharing all of this with me? I was really disgusted. I couldn't even keep a straight face. I ghosted him, and he's clueless as to why that happened. Why do men think this is a good thing to say? It's so stupid. Because they stupid. That's like, is this a trick question? Stupid people gonna think stupid things and do stupid things. First of all, what they're trying to do is blow smoke up your ass because see, a woman with really low self-esteem loves a man who's gonna, pump her up and make her feel like she's better than other women. That to her, that is like the extreme validation of life. Okay, so men who know that run that game, it's a test. So they're trying to see what kind of woman do you have confidence and self-esteem and respect for yourself? Are you that needy, empty vessel kind looking for somebody to fill you up? Somebody to make you have, quote, self-esteem. This is a test. And then it's a way for them to see if you're the kind that needs all that validation and reinforcement and you love hearing him put other women down to build you up, then he knows he got you. He knows how to run game on you like 9,000. It's very easy. That's what that is. It's a test. Most of you fail it, but you did not. Good job. I love it. And I know you, and I talked about that stereotype that they have of Asian women a couple of shows back. Some guy was talking like that, and I reamed his ass and telling him that that was a thought process that he had as well. So I'm glad that you recognize it. I'm glad that you don't go for it. I'm glad that you understand that it's stupid and that it's nothing good. So the woman who is getting the information and the other women, he's putting down the other women to try to build you up. If you bite, you're stupid. Because he's going to do the same thing about you next round when he gets sick of you. He's going to put you in the same category, put them other women in and dial you too. Yeah, they do. And, the women who are trying to get out of them countries, see, girlfriend, she in London, so she ain't tripping. But the women are in the still third world countries, they go along with the stereotypes and the mindset because it gets them out of poverty. So if they present themselves as some demure, I'm so family oriented type of a woman, the dude is gonna spend all his money and support her family and bring her to the U.S. or the UK, educate her younger siblings, all kinds of stuff. He's gonna be like they're gonna be knee deep in his wallet. And he's gonna be okay with it because he feels like, well, she's traditional. She's not like a Western woman trying to take all my money. And in reality, he's giving up 10 times more. But they don't see it that way. Yeah, them types. So she said she ghosted him. So he got it. But anyway, thank you for sharing that. That made me smile. I love it when women understand what's going on and block the game. Question number 20. We got 5 more after this on this crazy show. She's 20 to 25, 20 to 27 rather. She's Caucasian from El Cerrito, California. The male in question is 22 to 27 and he's black. Summary issue. My boyfriend quit his job and I'm over it. Should I end things? Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's see the drama. My boyfriend of 4 years quit his job a few months ago out of the blue, and I can't stand it anymore. For those of you who don't live in California, you've heard of Oakland, and you've heard of Emeryville, and you've heard of Berkeley. Okay. El Cerrito's on the other side of Berkeley. So it's not too far from Oakland, but far enough. And it's a small little community. It's mostly residential, but I guess they do have some businesses and stuff there. There's a BART station there too. So he quit his job and I can't stand it anymore. He quit because he said he was miserable and hated who he worked for. One of my issues is that he never discussed this with me or even asked my opinion. I knew he wasn't happy there, but I had no idea he wanted to quit. We lived together, and one day he came to me and said he was quitting. No 2 weeks notice, nothing. That was his last day. We lived together, and I felt like as a partner, that should have been previously discussed. Obviously, I don't want my partner to be miserable all the time, but at least talk to me or have a solid backup financial plan for right now. He's been Ubering occasionally, but it's not consistent enough to pay any bills. He plays video games the majority of the day. I asked him about rent when he quit, and he said he would still pay his portion, but he hasn't. The only thing we split evenly is the electricity bill. I've been paying the rent and utilities around $2,100, and he'll maybe give me $200, but only if I ask. If I didn't ask for money, he wouldn't give me anything. I brought it up a month ago that he hasn't been paying his portion, that he can't keep doing this because I have other bills to pay. He apologized and said he would pay, but last month he didn't pay again. His plan is to become a cop for the sheriff's office, but the whole academy process doesn't even start for 3 or 4 months. That's too long for me to support someone and I don't make a great deal of money. Also, his family doesn't know he quit, and I just told my parents everything, and they're livid with him. We also live about 4 hours away from our families. I feel like he's taking advantage of me, and I'm over it. Not only do I pay rent, but I do majority of the chores. I've been thinking of ending our relationship, but it's been 4 years, so obviously I'm a little hesitant. The whole situation has just put a bad taste in my mouth, and I feel like I was very selfish of him, and he didn't take me into consideration at all. Also, I feel like I shouldn't have to ask for or beg for money, nor should I have to ask you to get a job. I just feel like this is the bare minimum. I'm worried it will only get worse in the future, or if he does get a job, something like this might happen again. I think it would be different if he were fired or let go because there's nothing you can do about that. But all of this was 100% avoidable. I want to talk to him this week about everything, but I'm afraid once I do, he's going to try Uber once more or try to find a job to make up for it. But I feel like it's too late. I don't know. I just feel like me explaining how unhappy I am, I shouldn't be your motivation your motivation to act right. Sorry if this is messy and all over the place. I figured some opinions from people we don't know might help me. What would you do in my situation, Deb? Am I wrong for wanting to end it? Crazy for putting up with this? Any advice from you and the squad is appreciated. So you guys chime in what you think. First thing you're gonna do is call his parents. You're gonna call his parents and you're gonna tell them what he did and how it's been all these months as you're going broke and you can't afford to support their son and to please come and get him or do something with him. Make him get a job, do something, okay? Because you're done. Okay, tell him that he has till the end of May, and you're gonna file a 30-day notice or get a to move out of the place, and then you'll both be homeless. But I mean, you could go, you're a single woman, you could get a second bedroom in a 2-bedroom apartment with some other woman or something. You know what I mean? You don't have to live there by yourself. But ooh, $2,100. That's a lot of money. Well, she probably only has a 1-bedroom apartment though. That's not gonna work with a roommate. They have two. Um, yeah, that would be my first thing, to reach out to his parents, explain what's going on, and tell them that you need some financial help. And then tell them to please talk to him, because the relationship is at risk of being, you're going to leave because he just feel like he's taking advantage of you, and that he didn't respect you enough to have this conversation with you before he went out and quit with no money saved up. Okay. So that would be my first suggestion, to do that. And then start looking for you a place to move to. But you notice how she talked about the 4 years, there's a video on the channel called the sunk cost fallacy. And that's what you need to look at. So you can see, like, throwing more time after some time that was already fucked up. It's just making you waste more time. It's not going to resolve the situation. You have to understand what message he communicated to you. He's not even looking for another job. He's playing video games and just letting you support him. He's being extremely disrespectful. And the whole point is he's using you, and he planned this. So, I mean, the fact that you stay there talking about, well, my help, you're supposed to kick him out that day. Say, well, you decided it was a good idea to quit your job with no backup plan and no money in the bank. Then get out. Get out, because I'm not going to support you. If I'm going to pay all the bills around here by myself, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the only one here making them too. Get the fuck out. That's what I would have told him. Yeah, I don't be living with nobody. Clowns. Question 21. This is a female in the 20 to 34 age group. She's Caucasian from Los Angeles. Third issue: confusion after a date with a recently divorced man. Deb, I am so confused. Had what I thought was a great first date with a guy I vaguely knew through mutual friends. We both have children under 6 and both separated for about a year. We matched on a swipey thing, and it took him about 3 weeks to message me, but when he did, it was consistent and good. Then we met up for dinner, talked about our situations, our mutual friends, and had very passionate makeout sessions. Okay, wait a minute. That was the first time you met. Okay, 3 things to top message. It was consistent. Then we met up, and then, okay, I just want to make sure I understand. So the first time you actually met him, you had a passionate makeout session. Then my anxiety grew when I didn't hear from him. So after 2 days, I messaged to thank him and say I had fun with him. Took him about 36 hours to reply, as he, quote, hadn't had his phone on him much, end quote. He wasn't that chatty either. Who want to talk by text? Your ass is in your 30s. Get the fuck over it. Because we both are going through messy separations with young children, I asked him if he was actually okay. He replied, no one will ever understand the pressure he is under, but he is not looking for sympathy. The message was like at midnight. In the morning, I replied to say he was a good guy and an amazing dad. How do you know all that? And acknowledged all the stress he was under. That was a few days ago, and I haven't heard anything. Now I can't decide if he just played me or if he just messed up at the moment with separating, or is he really just not interested? What are your thoughts? He has a hardcore job, has to leave his home and children, and his ex is trying to turn, and his ex is trying to ruin his reputation. My story is that my ex, who he knows, had an affair when our second child was born. Okay, so you trying to date a dude that your ex knows? That's hella messy. Yeah, he is still married. They're both still married. There's getting a separation. She had said that at the beginning of the letter. So yeah, you separated, but you're technically still married until that actual decree, which in California takes 6 months. So yeah, they're both still married, but they're separated. They're going through the divorce process. But in a situation like that, just because you're physically separated doesn't mean you're emotionally separated yet. Most couples, unless there was some serious acrimony, they still see each other. They still talk, and especially they have kids together. And sometimes they even slide into each other's beds during those 6 months while the divorce is, because their emotions haven't, like I said, haven't separated yet. So I think it's probably something like that. That's why he's not really around. He's may even be actually trying to get his wife and family back together. Who knows? But I never really deal with dudes who are going through stuff like that. I don't want to be bothered. Whether it's a wife, separated wife, ex-wife, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, wanna-be girlfriend, women be tripping. And it's like they'll try to stake a claim on the guy just because they like him. He might not even know she exists, but she gonna get in your face talking about, well, I like him. And I'm like, and does he like you back? That's all that counts. You trying to stake a claim on somebody like he's like, moon, and you staking your putting your country's flag up there or something? Unless he says he wants you back, then what you talking about is stupid. Get out of my face. I had many of those conversations like in high school. Women be tripping sometimes. So anyway, just leave him alone. Okay, just leave him alone. It's nice that you went on your little one date and had your makeout session, but you was doing too much to do that. That was ridiculous. Question number 22. Female, 35 to 42. She's Caucasian in the UK. The male, 43 to 50. Summary of issue. I'm being gaslit because I have a cat and he's allergic to it. I had a guy reach out on a dating app expressing his interest in my profile and asking if I wanted to grab food and drinks. I checked out his profile and said that he was allergic to cats. He would have known from my profile that I had one. I could have ignored the message but responded to me nice, saying it would be fun to grab drinks, but unfortunately I have a cat and I see that he's allergic, and I put the bum face emoji. He responded expressing that he was bummed, but if I, quote, just kept my house really clean, it wasn't as big of a deal for him, and let him know if I still wanted to grab drinks. So you're only selectively allergic to cats. No, he wanted to get you out and get you drunk. He wants to, again, a first date focusing on alcohol. Anyway, I responded, I adore cats and don't envision a future where I don't have one. So I see that probably being an issue for a potential long-term relationship. We were both said we're looking for a life partner. But if he wanted to just get out and meet someone new and swap adventure stories, I was totally down. Who knows, maybe he would have been a better match than one of my single besties. His passive-aggressive gaslighting response was that he, quote, wasn't asking me to choose my pet over a relationship. He was busy this weekend anyway, and in an attempt to lighten the tone, wished me luck out there and thanked me for being, quote, nice. What? Just to be clear, dude, if you did ask me to choose, I would have hands down without any hesitation chose my cat. Goodbye. Next week. Did you think I was going to applaud you or something? You was just stupid. The man just wanted to go out and have drinks, and you talking about, our long-term relationship. What the fuck? You went from A to triple Z. That's why he gave you that snarky remark, and it was what you said to him was inappropriate. So you got told about yourself and checked. And now you want to write me a letter to whine about it, talking about you got gaslit. He didn't gaslight you at all. You was the one gaslighting yourself. Sitting up there, probably being an issue for a potential long-term relationship. But if he just want to get out and meet, I was totally, that's all you had to say. Okay, well, let's do that then. I'll make sure my clothes are brushed off so I won't have any residual cat hair. And then we'll just hang out and just have a good evening. Two single people that don't have shit else to do tonight. Something like that. But, you start bringing up long-term relationship based that you haven't even met the man yet. What? Who does that? I know. She's tripping. And then trying to get mad at him. Girl, the one here that I'm mad at right now is you. Because you stupid. You need to stay off the swappy things until you get your mind right. Question number 23. This is a female in the 20 to 34 age group. She's Black from Atlanta. Summer issue. Why do so many women set the bar so low? Girl, if I had to answer that question, I'd be a bazillionaire. Yeah, but she's kind of old for that. That's usually what, little teenage girls do. It's going to be my boyfriend. And, we're going to get married and live happily ever after. 16, 17 years old. She's in her 30s. And talking like that. She haven't even met this motherfucker, and she's already talking about potential long-term relationship just because he put on a profile that he's looking for something serious. Me and all good, they always gonna say that. Think they're gonna say I just want to be a hoe? They're not gonna put that on the profile. They're gonna make it sound like it's something that a woman would want. Even though we all know what their true agenda is. That's why they're on the swipey thing. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? I still wait for the dude to do it. Just like I'm on this platform because I just want to get my dangalang wet and be a straight hoe. Now that would be honest. If they put that, then everybody would know. It would be like the most honest thing because that's what 99% of them are doing. But they're gonna hide behind it. Oh, you I'm looking for a long-term relationship. I want a relationship. I want a meaningful relationship because they know that's what most women want to hear. And y'all be believing that shit just because it's so typed on a screen. So that's what I'm saying. The difference between the old school pre-internet people and the people that's born since the internet became totally different concept about what they see online. I don't believe shit that motherfuckers put on the internet. Whereas they believe everything. It's just so interesting. It's so interesting. So anyway, let's move on. Question number. Oh, okay. So this is the black chick from Atlanta. Why do so many women set the bar so low? I'm feeling so sad, having just read the latest quote. He does nothing but please don't suggest I leave him thread on a popular social media site. Deb, why? Why do women want so little for themselves? Every day there's a post like it. Half the time, the woman seems to pay for everything too, so the man brings nothing to the relationship. I am in a same sex marriage. We have our issues, but everything is 50-50. There's no doubt about that. When I had a child free weekend with friends, my first thought is, right, we better work out when my wife gets the equivalent for herself. I don't know what that means. So what's the reason? Is it self-esteem? Is it fear of being single? I do have slightly more understanding when there's a financial reliance on the relationship because that must be scary. But in the cases where the man doesn't even pay anything, it just makes zero sense to me. I don't know the answer to that question. There's this term that a lot of people like to use. I started hearing it a couple of years ago called trauma bonded, but it's just bullshit. There's one thing I figured out about this millennial generation and this Gen Z generation is they like to come up with fancy terms to talk about their stupid decisions and dysfunction and make it sound like it's some kind of, medical or psychiatric issue. When it's not, it's just dumb shit, dumb choices, and stupidity. So it's not a matter of being bonded in trauma. This is a motherfucker you ain't even never met. So how you get trauma bonded to him? You just stupid and chasing a dream and can't let go and deal with reality. That's what that is. So in a situation like this, these women get into situations with men that ain't about shit, ain't never gonna be about shit, don't do shit, don't know shit, and I don't even know what it is that they're. I don't get it because when you see the guys, they don't even have decent conversation. They don't look like nothing. They don't have any kind. It just like what useless waste of time. Half of them have come out of prison. They can't get a job. If one jumped on them, they still would be able to get it. And so it's like these women just get this dude and they take care of him like he's a kid. And like I said, then there's there's like violence and stuff because a woman can't respect a man who she has to treat like a child. And the guys get angry because they're not getting that respect. So then they resort to violence towards the woman. But really what they're angry at is themselves. So a woman who sees a man who ain't about shit and ain't gonna do shit and never will do anything to involve yourself with him, they very well risk your life because that man has major issues and should be left alone until he gets his stuff together. Okay, you can't fix stupidity. You can't fix a broken man. You can't do it. Okay, it's just not gonna happen. So them kind of dudes, you really should be left alone. I don't understand what the women are doing, but in every instance, there's abuse, either of them or their finances or their children or all three. And the guy moves on to the next one. It's especially bad for the women who like on Section 8 and getting these government subsidies and stuff, but they only have to pay like $60 a month rent. And did she get food stamps and something? Because he always gonna have some food to eat and always have a roof over his head because she gonna keep it for them kids. So long as he's there at X rate, he's there too. But I know a girl, she lost her Section 8 voucher like that. Let the student moved in with her. She had 3 kids. And she ended up living in her aunt's basement, like a garage, that they had to, stuff newspapers under the door and stuff to keep the wind out. That's the only shelter that she could find because they kicked her out of the Section 8 place because she had let that dude live up in there with her. And of course, after that, he just went on to the next dumb broad. You would never risk your livelihood and the safety and stuff for your children for a man, but that's what they do over and over and over again. Yes, they're roaches. Shoot, roaches probably have better, more going on than these dudes do. I don't know. It's just, so anyway, in bottom line, I have observed what you're talking about, but I have no answer for you. I don't know. I'm sure there must be probably, I don't know, 100 different reasons why, or combinations thereof. But we can only talk about what we see, and we're not going to ever use that word trauma bonded because it doesn't mean anything. It's just like saying uncomfortable. Doesn't mean shit. Talk about what it is. I'm making stupid choices. I'm being codependent. I'm so desperate for a man that I let anybody in my house over me and my kids. I'm so desperate for a man I'll even pay. I'll give him my money just because I'll buy him. Pay his bills. I'll buy him illegal substances. I'll do whatever I need to do to have him here because I'm that desperate for a man. That's what that really is when we get down to it. The euphemisms don't work on this channel. I don't go for them. And question 24, this is the next to last question. Male, 28 to 34. He's of mixed race in the UK. Summer issue. I don't ever want to get married, and it's ruining my dating life. Well, I could imagine in your age group, everybody looking to get married for some unknown reason. I've never been interested in marriage, but recently some events have convinced me even more I will never do such a thing. I'm still trying to recover from a pretty bad breakup. Someone I met which was about to get divorced following adultery. She initially told me that her and her ex were pressured into marriage for religious reasons and that she wanted to get over everything and start a new life. We got along so well. For someone like me who's very difficult to please in love, it was a liberation. We had a short, idyllic time together and everything was so great until she went back to her husband. She was scared and missed the feeling of being intensely bonded to someone and probably felt like it was safer to forgive him and go back to the status quo. I didn't think we'd grow old together anyway, but our relationship was cut so short. It was and still is very hard for me. Similarly, on a less intense note, I was supposed to engage in a casual but still romantically charged relationship with a married woman who was in an open marriage at the time. She got divorced in the meantime, and the pain made her stop wanting any kind of intimacy for months. Now she admitted that she preferred that we just stay friends. We're still cool, but it can't help but feel a bit disappointed. Quote, don't date married women, end quote, you won't want to tell me. I don't care what you do. But it's just a coincidence when it happens. I don't actually look for married gals. It just happens that one or rare people that are interested in me is in that situation. I feel like I can't trust women enough in general. Marriage is too big of a commitment when it comes to love. I want children in the future, but that's because I know that no matter what happens, I'll have my love for my kid for 18 years after their birth. No. Parenting does not end at 18 years, sir. They're your kids till the day either you or they die, and actually even after that. On the other hand, I can't promise any partner that I'll still love her 10 years from now. That's not how I feel about love. Okay, well then go. You know what you need to do. Go and find a cave and go live in it and then block yourself in there. That's what you need to do. Get on my nerves. You're just all over the fucking place. You're so indecisive and stupid. You don't want intimacy. Now, really, you just want some pussy. And just admit it. Because that's why you go deal with married women and women who, separated and all these other going through all these changes. You don't really want to be with anybody. Not really. Where you really expose yourself and vulnerable and all that. Is you always choose women who are emotionally unavailable. You think I don't know this? You think you're going to run this by me and I'm not going to catch it? Ain't shit going to go through this channel that I don't catch. Nothing. Okay, so this is your problem. You have problems with intimacy. You don't want to, you don't even want to commit to your kid after 18 years. So what can I say to you? There's nothing other than you ain't shit. Okay? You ain't shit. Get your ass to some shrink's couch and figure that out. Work that out before you involve some child in your nonsense. Did your kid just drop off the earth after the age of 18? That's essentially what you put. I'll love my kid for the 18 years after their birth. That's what he wrote. Like it stops, on their 18th birthday, you're like, oh, well, there you go. You're grown now, so my love is ending. You're not my kid anymore. You're a weirdo, sir. And our final question of the night is question number 25. This is a young man in the 22 to 27 age group from Los Angeles. Summary of issue. What is the correct response? I saw a TikTok video of a woman who was on a date with a man. She was telling a story about how their date went, and she said that she won't see him again. The man asked, quote, well, who are these other guys that I'm in competition with? And her answer was, quote, other guys, no, you are in competition with me. You're competing against me because, listen, I'm fucking great. I'm fun. I know how to do everything for myself. What is going to make me you special enough for me to want to share my life? So, Deb, I'm wondering, what would you do? What would you have said as a woman if this was asked to you by a guy? I'm going to have to read this again. What would you say is the correct response to such a question? And if there are any guys in the listening audience, what would be your reaction and response to a woman you were seeing said this to you? I'm not defending the guy. Really, he should have not asked that question, whether he was joking or not. But I think it's the way that she worded her reply was too direct, though she has valid points. Well, yeah, she does, because I've said something along those lines myself. But you're right, I don't use that particular language. What I tell guys is, it is the sentiment is the same. Is that it's not about being in competition with other men for me, like you putting on a show, like you're going to win or something like that. It's about showing who you are, letting her see who you are and how you respond to, different kind of stimuli and situations. And then she can determine which of the guys that she's seeing is the best fit for her. And because she is the prize, which I hate that term, but I mean, she's, that's who they're competing, right? So evidently they see her as a prize. Then, she knows that she likes herself. She has high self-confidence, high self-esteem. She values herself. She values what she has to offer. And so that's essentially what she was saying. Would I have used that exact language that she did? I'm fucking great. No, I would have never said that. That is just too much. Yeah, but it is the truth. And this is what I always say, women need to think about this. When a guy is trying to get at you, you're supposed to be assessing him. Like, what is he going to bring to your world that's going to make your life better? If the answer is nothing, then he doesn't need to be there. If he's not going to make you happier, feel safer, more taken care of, loved, secure, um, a shoulder to lean on, someone that supports and encourages you and stuff. If those kind of basic elements of a romantic relationship and long-term partner aren't there, what the fuck are you doing with him? Women need to think about that kind of stuff. Because she's right. We can like pay our own bills and, buy homes and run businesses and do all that kind of stuff. We can do all that stuff by ourselves. What we look for a man to bring is the things that money won't buy, which is an emotional connection. Okay. And if he's, he already ain't making as much money as you, okay, we can forgive that because he's going into one pot, no big deal. But then he's not giving any emotional currency either. Why are you there? You tripping. Yeah, you gotta love your life being single by yourself. And then if you get a man who, adds to that, then it makes it even more wonderful. But his whole role should be make your life more wonderful, not less. More peaceful, not less. Less stressful, less drama, less brokenness, all those kind of things. You guys should come together, and it should be like you like two horses pulling a wagon. That's the analogy I always use when I do my presentations. It's two horses pulling a wagon. Well, that wagon is gonna fly faster and further with two ponies pulling it than it ever would with just one. And the one is gonna get tired. Sometimes the other one could take more of a load, be the leader, the pace setter. The other one just keeps up. Then they might switch off. Or they're going to run in sync. And the wagon's going to fly because they're working together as a team. But you got one horse pulling the wagon, the other one sitting in the wagon with his legs crossed. That ain't going to work. So that's how most of these relationships are these days. I don't know if you all notice I have some blonde stuff in my hair. I'm trying a new look for the summer. Some temporary dye stuff to make so I'm gonna be fast. I've never put blonde stuff in my hair exactly. This is the first time, but it's my cousin. My cousin talked me into it. So here we're going to see what this looks like. So anyway, that was today's show. We will be back on, I think I set the next show for Wednesday. Because like I said, I'm on a short time clock. I'm at the 15th through the end of the month. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be around much. So I'm going to try to squeeze in 2 or 3 shows before I go on my little hiatus. So look out for What the Fuck Wednesday next week. And then the following week after that, we'll be back on Tuesday. And then I'll be out from the 15th to the end of the month. All right. So you guys, if you're not a subscriber yet, please hit the subscription button. And if you have suggestions for future topics, send them in. Go to debsterism.com, which is right there at the bottom of the screen, and submit a comment and let us know. All right. Shut up, Leandra. Yo, girl, your ass is crazy. All right, I'll see y'all later. Bye. Bye, Shay.